Episode 261 of Staggered Stance. Josh is with me right now. We're waiting. Probably get Ben and Nick in tonight at some point and an interview with Ganon Burr. Josh, I've had people reach out to me and say, hey, where's Staggered Stance been? And I'm like, I guess we got to say it off the top of the show, which we did signing out last year. We took the off season off. But saying it at the top of the show, if you've caught this much of it, we have a different structured schedule this year, largely following Elite Plus, majors, and other unique big events. So stay tuned. Something like the Big Easy Open, we're doing an episode today. But otherwise, stay tuned for the big events. And also, we have posted some content, but you have to head over to our podcast platforms outside of YouTube. I guess you could say we're prioritizing that a little bit, but that's largely because it's not algorithm driven. So if you subscribe, you'll get our updates. And might be able to play a little clip later. I did a Matty O interview right before the Big Easy Open in a totally different style than we've ever done it, ever. So if you're interested in what that might be like, after 7 seasons, I gave something a go. Check out our podcast platforms at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. It's everywhere. So anyways, got that out of the way because I wanted to make sure people had that if they've been missing it. Josh, how have you been doing? And what's up?
Good. Yeah, good. Before I say how I'm doing, yeah, I mean, it's good stuff. Go and listen. I mean, John Houck, Matty O leading into the Big Easy Open. So yeah, definitely make sure you're getting the audio. Yeah, I mean, lots has been going on. Life is busy, moving around, and a lot of kind of big time responsibilities and things. But it was nice to see some exciting disc golf with so much to talk about, right? Like who knows how long we'll have our show tonight, but talk about a new event that I think there was actually a lot of hype last year when they announced it without anybody knowing the specifics, just because it's like, all right, awesome. You know, new city, place with a lot of potential, not only for disc golf, but just venue and location. So we've kind of been waiting, and here it was. I think it made a splash for better and or worse, which is maybe something we'll talk about. But yeah, things are good.
I wonder if when Ben joins, he'll be on Bourbon Street or maybe in a different part of New Orleans, but he's down there and he's going to try to make the most of it while he's there. And Nick has plans to join. I know that's a shocker for everybody. We're slightly shocked ourselves, but let's see what he has to bring to the table tonight. And maybe we can get a life update. I know people love Nick. So we'll also put out there, we're chatting with Ricky today. He's not really hard to get a hold of, but as you can understand, it's a fair amount of process when you have, who knows, vocal minority or maybe a majority or half of the disc golf world, however you want to phrase it, kind of just going out there. And frankly, there's everything from what could appear to be slander and or is slander all the way to maybe hard truth. It's all and everything in between. And if you're Ricky Wysocki, I mean, honestly, Josh, right? That's a lot to process. I mean, whether you did something intentional or not, even if it wasn't, it's a lot to process. I've felt innocent in things in my life and still had a lot to process, and everyone thought I was wrong. So it's like, it doesn't declare guilt or not if he joins our show. He in fact says he will join our show at another point here in the near future. He's doing what any normal human would do right now, I think.
We'll break that down, but just in general, Ricky, if nothing else is obvious, he's a hardcore competitor. And I'm not even talking about the specifics of things we can talk about happen on the course, but you just see it in the way he plays, his emotion, ups and downs, laser focused, right? Throw by throw, right? Walks fast, like gets to his shot. He's just so focused. And then to have an incredible round 2, truly incredible, riding the lead, the way the putts went down on, 16, 17, and 18, for him to lose, never mind the story about the sticks and all that, which again we'll talk about. But even if you erase that, I think it's probably a lot to process. Ricky was ready to win that tournament. Is it right to say that Gannon did not ever hold an outright lead in that tournament? And on the 55th hole of a 54-hole tournament is when he finally took the lead. So,
that seems right.
That's killer.
Someone would have to stat check that, but that does seem right.
I mean, and that's not crazy unusual. Often when people chase somebody down, that's the way it works. But yeah, pretty nuts. So, hey, who's
Bourbon
that?
Street?
I don't know, some street. I'm at a mall actually, so.
All right. Have you had a have you
nothing
had a
crazy.
beignet yet?
That's why I'm here. I'm going to Cafe Du Monde, not the OG one, but I'm going to a different one.
All right,
in the mall.
But you haven't yet though. You're going to.
Yeah. I haven't.
Okay.
I've had a beignet, not a Cafe Du Monde beignet. And
I've had one at the OG. I've had one at the OG.
I don't know. It just I was just so busy here. This is my one day to explore New Orleans, and so just trying to cram it all in. I wasn't even able to go to like the French Quarter or whatever. It's just because we have this massive RV. So
yeah. And here we are taking you away from tourism to talk about awesome disc golf tournament. But
I'm here. I'm glad to join.
Ben,
dude,
why are people coming after you now on the internet?
Dude, but it's always anonymous. I've just seen 3 anonymous posts. It's like I don't know why they're being anonymous, but
it's me.
That's what I'm saying. Like, who is it? Yeah, that's so funny. I've seen 3 anonymous posts, but the comments, have my back. So I didn't feel like anything.
I mean, because if it was the off season, we might talk about it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think I did what I needed to do, and I think it was perfectly legal, and
oh yeah,
it's all good.
Oh no, I was actually.
Isn't it the player's extension of the caddy or what, or a caddy's extension of the player or whatever? So
oh man,
the way I read the rules,
I was Gannon's extra limb.
The rules do not say they are the only ones who have to move it.
Yes, they have to be able to do it on their own.
Right, that's what it says.
Yeah,
there
that's
is a
what
difference.
it says. If they can do it, and
yes.
I didn't pick it up myself. Gannon handed me the stick, and then I just finished the job. That's all that happened.
Next time, Ben, just put your hands up. Everyone will love it.
No, that's ridiculous.
I don't think this would even be a conversation.
It's
if the other stick situation didn't happen.
It's not even a conversation now, but it's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny.
So
look, so we're interviewing Gannon in like maybe 6, 7, 8 minutes.
6, 7. Did you have to say that?
Yeah.
So yes, but Ben, how incredible you've been there for a few, man. Some big stuff.
Yeah.
For some big events. I mean, I remember Idlewild when he threw in on whatever hole it was, and you were there, and like the momentum. But like this was like it seemed never out of reach, but always just barely grasping for it until like the end.
Yeah, I agree with you. It didn't seem like out of reach, but it seemed like Gannon, like at one point was basically like, I need a miracle here, because he was like down 3. Was it with 6 to play or
something
4
like
to
that?
Play? I forget, something like that. And so basically, the biggest thing and what I noticed is Rick was hitting everything. Like he wasn't capitalizing. He wasn't able to capitalize on anything. Gannon would have a good putt, and a good birdie, or even a par, and Rick would just hit these insane 60-footers, and it was like guaranteed every time. I only saw Ricky personally with my eyes miss one, like deep circle 2 putt, and that was actually the same hole that the 6 situation happened. I think 16. Everything other than that. And the Gannon said it too. He's like, he would step up to Ricky's eye and be like, Ricky's not missing that, because Gannon says Ricky's the only person he's ever seen in disc golf that can just get in the zone and just like and just lock in and just make it. Just make the putt. He's the only person that he's seen that there's no nerves and no stress. It's just he's just gonna just make the putt. It's kind of like unfouled to even like just watch it live in person. So Ricky was playing his absolute top tier and not giving Gannon anything, literally anything. So it was getting a little bleak there, but we got a few nice opportunities and strokes, and
Gannon put in his own.
It turned
man.
out the way it did. Yeah. So it worked out well. It was very exciting finish.
Oh yeah, it was nuts. Like you saw, I texted in real time, and I'm like, hopefully you guys are watching this, and you actually got the text, which is awesome. Hey, and
I said I'm not watching. What's happening?
I know. And I know I've already seen clips online, but are you recording us right now with these fancy glasses you got going?
No, so I'm listening to you guys in these because I didn't have any headphones and I'm in the mall, so trying to.
Is the audio coming through that too?
Yeah.
It's
the audio is coming through that. I think the microphone might be coming through this, but the audio. But yeah, it was just a battle for the ages. It was so cool to see. I like the fact that Gannon won, like literally was like almost like borderline miracle-ish. But I will say, like, I told Gannon he was down 1 going into 18 after hitting that giant putt, which is why it was like miracle-ish. Like he basically had to hit that. There's no chance Ricky's double bogeying on the last hole. But I told Gannon going into it, if there's any hole in the world that you want to be down 1 stroke on, it's this hole. It's just like it is the most unpredictable, kind of janky, just no fairway.
You're saying hole 18?
Yes, hole 18.
When I interviewed John Houck 8 days ago or whatever it was, he goes, I'll have to pull it up. He literally said, he's like, going into 18, you want to have more than a 1-stroke lead. That's what he said.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's what happened.
Through the best second shot probably of the tournament and parked it, and and then we saw Rick just juice it a little too long, and then he was a little pinched off, and then his it was Gannon's third shot, not second shot, sorry, but Rick's third shot just he didn't really have an angle. But the fact that Rick even got up and down to scramble from that lie, he literally had nothing. And this is what I'm talking about when this is the thing only Rick can do. Like, how does he hit that 60-foot putt? If he misses, he loses, basically. Obviously, Gannon says a 20-footer. But how does he make that? He's just like an animal. He's like Kobe Bryant mama mentality. It's just like, he's so locked in that it's just like, we're at the point where we're assuming it goes in. We're literally at the point where it's like I guess assuming it goes in, where he's not missing it. We're not expecting to miss. We're actually expecting to make, I guess what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, that's maybe as you were joining, that's what I was saying. Like, Rick is such a fierce competitor. You can see it in his eyes, like his body language, even like, I know we're not getting to these topics right now, but like the other conversations that happened during the round, right? Like, just Ricky is like, it's like almost, and I don't mean this as a negative, it's almost awkward because he's almost like robotic. Like, he is just like, I am focused on throwing the disc. Like, everything else is like out of sight, out of mind for him. He is just so hardcore on throwing the disc in the basket.
That's why me and Gannon were saying, like, there's with the whole stick, and I know we'll get into it. Like, we were like, there's no way he cheated. We know Rick personally. We know that he didn't have malicious intent or like malicious intent. Like, he was like, okay, I'm gonna move this. It's exactly what you just said. He was just so locked in. Nothing else is like in his like, I don't know. It's just like he's so locked in. He's not even thinking about anything else. And I think that's just what happened. It was just like he didn't think about mentioning the card. It was just crunch time. Rick needed to get up and down, and a stick definitely was in his lie. It was just obviously the debate is like the bundle of sticks, the different stick. But I think that's what happened. It's just like he was just locked in. Like, I will 100% stand by Rick in that he did not do that to cheat in any way, shape, or form. It was just that
but
happened.
Back to your point, so focused and with the skills, and that's why he executes, which to me is why it's just as crazy that Gannon chased him down because of everything we're saying. I think it seems like all three of us would be like Ricky, obviously his pedigree, his history, his accolades, and what he's doing. So for somebody to chase that down is why it's like nuts. And I think I told Matt it's a 54-hole tournament, but Gannon didn't get the lead until hole 55 when he won it. Right? Like,
yeah,
I mean that is like hard work.
Ricky was not giving up anything. Gannon would par, Ricky would par. You know, it was just like it seemed out of reach. But fortunately, he bogeyed 16, and that's when I was like, okay, there's something.
Well, actually, fortunately, Gannon hit that outside 100-footer because if he didn't do that, it was over too. It was like crazy.
But, yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a bunch of things, and that's why I keep saying this is the best last few stretches of disc golf I've ever seen in my life. It was literally like, think of like the most like unlikely things to happen, and when you're playing with your friends, that happened probably 10 times. Even the little things like Gannon going over the top and getting into 20 feet.
Yeah,
there were so many there's just so many little things that there's like once in a lifetime, not once in a lifetime, I don't know, once in a blue moon, I'll say, shots, and they executed on every single one of them.
Yeah.
Can you answer, because Gannon has he said, I'll try to join, but I think my internet is trash. I said, your game is trash. He said, yeah, bro, I got nothing. I'll try to join later. So he's going to try to jump on later if that works out. But can you tell me what the game plan was, if anything? Do you know what it was coming into the playoff hole where Ricky threw aggressively on his second? I'm talking second shot specifically here, but threw aggressively and ended OB. If Gannon was throwing first, would Gannon have attempted to get there?
So yeah, it's kind of the game plan. Ricky's shot was a little left, which is like not a bad place to be. But if it's short, he went OB on the hole one doing this exact same thing. Just a little too left, a little short, and then he tried to juice it, and the wind carried it, and he went way left out of bounds on hole one that round. So we saw that was left, and I was like, okay, like he's got to throw a really good shot to even park it. And then Gannon was a little more right, which Gannon didn't really like because of like the angle, because he had a straight shot, even though he birdied it that way the first hole one on the final round. He didn't really like it. He wanted to be a little more left, not obviously like not as left as Rick, but a little more left because it was an easier hyzer. But yes, like I think 100% Gannon would have went for it, and it would have been it could have gone the other way because that shot is so tricky. So it was very fortunate that Ricky went first and threw a B, because now Gannon was like able to lay it up. Whereas if he had to go first, it was a little, obviously he's Ganon Burr, he could have executed, but it was a little uncomfortable. He wasn't really like feeling it, because he was even thinking about going in when Ricky threw a B, because he's like, it's Ricky. He has a putt. Yeah. You know, if Ricky has a putt, it doesn't even matter. But it's just like the wind wasn't in his favor, and it didn't really. So he just laid it up, and obviously that was a smart decision, and so it all worked out. But yeah, he definitely would have gone for it if he was first.
Yeah, like you said, just the way the whole events went. Matt, were you about to say something?
Yeah, we got Nick lined up now. It's been a little while, and I just heard echoing, so I'm gonna bring him in. Let's see.
I can
Yeah,
no, I fixed it.
Echo too.
I fixed it.
Perfect.
I think he had echo cancellation off, because normally, Nick, you join with the pro setup, so now I have to turn on echo cancellation for you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Is there any way you can move my screen around, or do you want me to move my camera? Well, my phone, I should say.
How far do you have to shift your head? Because it's pretty good.
Right here is comfortable.
It's going to be a little bit of a pain, but let's keep talking.
I'll shift down, and then
your best
I have
side
a
anyway.
pair of
Just
AirPods
slouch.
I can try if you
No,
want.
these are good. It's working.
Okay, all right.
All right,
What's
back.
going on, Staggered Stance?
Everybody,
Been a
welcome Nick Carl, guest of the show.
Oh, wait a second.
Yeah, I swear, I feel like a guest now. It's been so long. I actually saw Schwebby a couple weeks ago at the L'Oreal Challenge, and he's like, "Oh, I missed you on Stagger Stance the other night." I was like, "Dude, I feel like I haven't been on the show in 6 years. It's crazy." So
I had
Oh, I've
other
got-
people tell me, "Where's Nick, man? He's our favorite."
yeah,
They tell us that at the
no,
expos, bro.
no, I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Well, little life update for the people who always say Nick gets a job more than Ricky gets a new sponsor.
Yeah.
Um, I live down in Virginia now. I'm actually back down in Virginia. For the people who don't know, I took on a role as an account executive for a large mortgage company. And so pretty much I work in the mortgage finance lending world. I, for the most part, work remotely, which
Can
is
you get
pretty
me a
awesome.
5% rate? Would that be a thing you could do
No,
for me? Sponsor the show, maybe 5%?
nope, I wish, but nope, I can't do that. Um, but let's talk about refinancing your house later on. Just kidding. But no, honestly, I work remote now. It's nice. I'm back into the Monday through Friday work world, so I've been able to play disc golf again. Played my first B tier a couple weekends ago, and I'm excited to get back into locally competitive disc golf. It's been really fun, and I do love the Virginia area. I'm here with my girlfriend now, which is awesome. We're only about 15, 20 minutes away from New London, New London. So I'm dying to check that out soon, get back into playing and competing with my friends down here. So yeah, it feels good to have my weekends back. And that's pretty much it. It was awesome watching back-to-back tournaments, Supreme Flight Open, the Big Easy Open. I don't know how much you guys have talked on it, but yeah, once we get into it, I have my takes.
I
I'm
want
sure
to
you
say
can, yeah.
also that in continuing talking about the Big Easy Open, I looked at my family, who, by the way, was enjoying this thriller. I mean, we're all in the living room watching it, and I'm like, guys, there once was a time where this was normal Ricky mode. Like, he was unarguably the best putter in the world for a period of time. Like,
Mhm.
everyone knew it was
2016.
Rick. Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
like, it's sick. Like, he would just drop 10 60 footers in a row, just right in front of your face. Like, no problem, and everywhere. So, like, to see him do it again coming down clutch mode, I didn't see that in Rick for quite a while. He came and won Supreme Flight Open. I said, holy cow, if he wins this, that is a massive statement. And then stepping up to some of those big putts, I said, Rick, sorry, man, that's one you're going to miss. And he didn't. He just would not miss. And Ben was just telling us about it in his face. But yeah, what is your takes, Nick? Because we already kind of talked about it, so bring what you got.
Supreme Flight Open was awesome. It was great to see Ricky win that. It's been kind of cool with my involvement there in the past 3 times in the MPO side has been 3 different Discraft players, which is pretty awesome for me personally and my affiliation with Discraft. And then Big Easy Open, shoot, I talked to Paul a lot the week prior to the event just about the course. The tee pads was obviously a huge conversation, but then the course in and of itself, from videos and pictures that I had seen, I love the look of the trees and the root system out there. I thought it was a really pretty scenic view. For the competitive side of things that I was able to watch, I didn't get to watch all 18 holes, right off the rip. I couldn't tell you exactly which holes are which, but getting to see a lot of highlights. Holland Hanley had such a massive advantage out there, I think, with that power forehand and power backhand of hers. And she was making putts when she needed to. So I feel like that was kind of like a clean sweep on her side. She just had to, for the most part, keep it in the fairway, and she was doing pretty good. And then on the MPO side, shoot, a lot of the pros that I had talked to the week prior of the event or the week leading up to the event, 10 down, 11 down was what everyone thought was going to be the overall winning score. And then Ricky comes out in round 2 and shoots a 10 down. But then he only finishes winning, losing the tournament, but like going into a playoff at 11 or 12 down, whatever it was, 11 down, I think. And so pretty insane. You shoot course record 10 down. And I know one of the biggest gripes that everyone has is the whole rating system, right? With how this course rated. That's arguably probably Ricky, one of the greatest round Ricky's ever played. It's the same thing Ezra at Worlds last year over at Tapade played an incredible round, and it wasn't even 11-20 rated, whatever. Everyone's going to complain about the ratings aspect of it. Just don't even think about the ratings. Don't even think about it. I know for Gannon, the one person in the world who should be caring about ratings right now, it does matter to him because of how close he is to breaking the record. But to everyone else, just look at it as that was one of the greatest rounds of disc golf that we were able to watch. I know when it came to John Houck's design of the course, Ricky filleted, and that's what John wants is people to throw great shot to have a potential chance at birdie. Now, there's definitely some designs out there, some trees that I feel like need cutting down, maybe some better basket positions. I do know a lot of pros were against it. A lot of pros, loved it, were for it. But take it from the man himself, Ganon Burr, the winner of the event. Let him talk more about it rather than the 980 rated guy.
And we just dropped Ben out. How you doing, Gannon? I mean, we didn't drop Ben out. Ben dropped out in fear when Gannon joined. We may not have.
How is the connection? Do I have any connection?
You have a connection, but it's interesting. I'll say that.
Can I call in? Is that possible?
Yeah,
We can hear you.
Let me see if I can set something up. Hold on a second. Actually, let me.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah, hold on. You guys keep talking.
Yeah,
I'm gonna work on Gannon's thing. Don't leave yet, Gannon.
Yeah, Matt, you work on figuring it out.
All right.
I want to definitely transition to. Let's fill this time a little bit with interest.
Okay,
So,
hold on,
Ben,
Gannon. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay, we can hear you. I shut your video off. I don't know if that's gonna make it a lot better, but congrats, man.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I have terrible service. It's really spotty. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But you guys hear me fine?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can hear you fine. There's a little delay for us when we end talking, but we can hear you perfect.
Yeah, let's roll with it. So Gannon, first of all, congrats, an incredible performance. We've already been talking about it. We've heard firsthand from your caddy Ben, but
Yeah.
of course we're going to get to some of the topics that the internet loves to talk about. But I just want to ask, first of all, you've had plenty of battles, but I don't think you've had many where you did not have the lead until the 55th hole on a 54-hole tournament. So what is it like to have to try to chase Ricky down at the end? Is this the most unlikely thing to happen, or were you confident, or where was your mindset at?
Yeah, it was. I don't know, man. It's kind of a weird course to do it at because so many of the holes. I mean, there was only 4 people that shot under par the final round. So
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I didn't even know that because the service is so bad out there. I couldn't even check scores. So I was hoping no one from Chase Card was going to do anything crazy. I was just focused on who was on lead card. But obviously, Ricky missed that putt on 15, and that kind of brought some life back in to me because I knew I was only down 2 or 3 to go. And 18 is literally anything can happen. So I was well, I just got to get one back on 16 or 17, and that should be good. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely, tons of clutch shots were kind of made throughout the round by both of us, and it was a great battle. Obviously, it wasn't very tight for the entire round, but I mean, I guess kind of a late charge is also pretty cool.
Yeah, it was very cool to watch, and we're on our show. I'm sure we'll talk about all the different aspects of it. You talked about it's a unique course to do it on. In your post-win interview, you talked about the future potential. We've heard a lot of other takes from pros, including you, but you like the course, you like the venue, you're happy the Pro Tour's there. Any constructive criticism to offer?
I mean, I think the venue is really good. Tons of people came out, and actually, I turned to Ben, I was it actually spectates pretty well in the woods. You have a pretty good view of a lot of the shots in the woods. There's tons of room for people to kind of fill in there as well. So for a wooded course, it actually spectated decent, I felt like. But also, they just haven't had a Pro Tour down there. And so it's really cool to kind of give them a chance to see what the Pro Tour is like. I know a lot of people were yeah, it's my first event. And I think that's always good to kind of spread it out and just have a new event on tour. I'm always excited for. Obviously, the course had some controversy, but in terms of the event, I think it ran pretty well. And definitely, delivered on terms of playing side of things. Yeah,
for sure. So you've had plenty of competitions with Ricky, and in some of recent years, you've come out on top more often than he has. People are throwing around the word rivalry. I don't know what needs to qualify. Do you feel that with Rick? I mean, I know he's a friend, but on the course, he is so laser focused. I don't think there's much friendship happening in the round. Is this a rivalry for you and Rick, or is it just good competition?
I mean, there's definitely a rivalry there. I think in disc golf, it's hard to build rivalries, just like in a couple other sports is similar. It's not like football or basketball where you play, a guy on a team once a year or twice a year. And disc golf's also not like a physical sport. You're not bumping into people, obviously, unless you want to get penalized, banned from the PDGA. But so it's a little bit different. It's kind of hard to create that because we see each other every single weekend. We're friends. Like, we're all nice guys that enjoy being around each other, and we're all out here just having a good time playing disc golf. But, I think Ricky and I are the two most competitive people in disc golf right now. And I don't really think there's a question about that. So it definitely, it gets a little bit different the final round. Ricky, the first round, we're chatting up the entire round, having a good time. But then, that when it gets game time in those pressure situations, definitely kind of calms down a little bit. But I think there's definitely something there. Obviously we have fun kind of tripping at each other back and forth over, other interviews and stuff like that. But it's definitely something there, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, so you can chirp and have fun about being lucky, but then when you hit a putt on, a 100-foot putt, I doubt Rick's in the moment saying, "Oh, you just got lucky." There's probably a lot of,
Yeah.
and obviously he's jumping and raptor legging and all of that. Look, when you both are kind of, I don't know if the word's yelling, but you make a giant putt and there's a cheer, there's kind of an exclamation point. Does that does that go back and forth? Are you just happy for them, or is it kind of like, grind your gears a bit when, Rick's jumping around, but then you're hitting it and he has to tolerate the same? Like, what's that energy like?
I think more for me, it's the reason, like, I would like it just because I feel like he's gaining momentum, and he's like definitely the player that feeds on that the most I've ever, come across. He like needs that momentum. And the second he has a chance, especially this weekend, he's had multiple tournaments I played against him where, like, if you give him a chance, he's going to capitalize every single time. I can't even think of one time he messed up this week on a chance he had to capitalize. So, it happened early on. He hit a 50-footer, I think, on like 5, and you see him get that confidence, and then it's like, well, it's just game over. So that's kind of the feeling that I have from there. It's definitely like I feel like the crowd was a little more on his side than they were on my side, but and that kind of hurts a little bit too as well. But
yeah,
I think it's more about he was gaining momentum than anything.
So what about so we saw it on coverage, so in some ways we know exactly what happened, but tell us about that whole 17 putt. Like, your mindset, were you like feeling like you had to make it and you had all the pressure and you just floated it in, or was anything else in your mind at that point?
I mean, it was kind of weird. I had like a weird like anxiety about 3-putting this weekend, like missing circle 1 putts. And I didn't miss a circle 1 the entire weekend. I made all my circle 1s. It was 50% from C2. And I also had 2 or 3 throw-ins from outside C2. But I knew it, like, if I go down 2 and 18, it's pretty much over. Like, it's pretty easy, I feel like, to get a bogey on that hole. I think it's kind of hard to par, but it's pretty easy to get a bogey on 18. So I was like, I got to at least be 1 back. Obviously, Ricky could have still missed his putt on 17. But I had a headwind, which I felt like almost worked in my favor with my confidence because I knew I could run it. I'm not going to go too far past, and then I'll have a tailwind coming back. So worst case, I have like a comfortable like 20-footer that I should be able to make. But I kind of had to spin it in there, change my stroke a little bit, just based off the distance of the putt and also just the wind situation. So I didn't want to expose the flight plate to too many elements. And I obviously hit the putt, probably one of the craziest putts of my career. And it's so cool to be a part of a moment like that.
Yeah, well, anybody watching it live there in person or on coverage knew at that moment that it was incredible to see that. It just, again, and you made it look so easy. Honestly, it just looked like you just tossed it and it went in. It's crazy. So that's fun. All right. And there were lots of good putts too, right? By you and Rick in that final round. It was just like back and forth.
For sure.
I felt like in this final round, so transitioning a bit, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm gonna say my observation. You can tell me. It seemed like there was more talk than usual about like rule clarifications. So obviously moving the stick, but the one that's on coverage that's talked about, we can talk about that. But even earlier in that round, I think Rick was asking the group about moving a stick or not, and there was some discussion whether he was able to move a stick in that case. You were trying to get clarification on relief, right? Where you could take relief outside of some of those tree roots, obviously in the playoff hole, right? Like, where did it go OB? Do you feel most rounds have that much discussion, or was there a lot of pressure and like more than usual? Like just in general, not even the one hole that we're all debating, but like, was there more than normal or is it always that way?
Yeah, definitely more than normal. I think it kind of came down to like three different things. It was a high pressure situation. Also, some different rule changes for this year in the Pro Tour, obviously with time extensions, and I think there was a little bit of a different change in when it came to moving debris and stuff like that.
Yes.
And then I think the other one was definitely, we have the cypress trees, which are very interesting, that contain deadly animals, and we don't want to get killed on the course. So hopefully you guys can still hear me well. I think I'm getting a little bit of a dry spot, but
you're keep going.
All right, I'll keep going. Just in the middle of Mississippi right now. So yeah, I guess I can kind of break down a couple of them. I guess, do you want to give me like an order? I can go one by one or whatever you want to do.
Well, let's talk about whatever you think is the most impactful. I can tell you the internet thinks it's hole 16, Ricky moving the pile of sticks. Like, maybe tell us a little bit how that went down. What I mean by that is we don't hear anything on coverage until basically you're approaching hole 17 with Jeff. Did we catch everything on coverage, or was there any more conversation or observations that led to that moment from your perspective?
Yeah, so basically what it was from my perspective was staying 1 foot from him. He's right next to me. Ricky's on my right. He's over there. And you have to throw a patent pending backhand out into the scramble shot. I know he definitely prefers the sidearm. And obviously, this course is fresh. There's tons of sticks in the rough everywhere. They kind of just feel like just chuck the sticks into the rough a lot of the times. But he, I think he saw, he had kind of been moving stuff throughout the round. I have no clue. Obviously, I think it's very unlikely that it was intentional in terms of the sticks he was moving or whatever. But yeah, I was looking over there and I turned to Jeff Spring and I'm like, I don't think that was behind his lie as Ricky's moving the sticks. And so, but I think I caught it like a second after he already grabbed them. And so it was something where I was like, I don't want to be the guy that's like, I'm never going to call something if I don't know 100% for a fact of something. So I think just being that like 1-2 seconds late of seeing exactly when it started, Ricky, I think, he addressed it, I think, an Instagram post, but like, he definitely should have asked the card. Like, you definitely don't just go moving sticks, especially that is like that kind of a controversial call without asking your card mates. But he went ahead and kind of just did it. It opened up his forehand swing, so he had a pretty wide open forehand, which he didn't have before. And to my eyes, it wasn't just one stick. Obviously, the rule is if it extends into your lie or behind your lie, you're able to move it if it's dead and unattached. Or debris like rocks and stuff like that. But the thing is like, it wasn't just one stick. It was like a bunch of sticks. And just because one stick extends into the back of your lie and the other sticks are touching that stick doesn't mean it makes it one stick. It's still, you're allowed to move the one stick that's, extending back in your lie, but you can't move the other sticks that aren't. And I think that's kind of where the controversy came up. And so Jeff Spring was kind of pulling up the rule, and I think that's why it didn't really get brought up as it was happening. It kind of waited till hole 17. By the time we had found the rule in the rule book and kind of went over it, and then obviously kind of questioned Ricky there on 17. But yeah, that was kind of, I guess, just how it was from my perspective. I had a couple people like saying in the comments like, "Oh, Gannon pulled up DGN," and then said it afterwards like, well, guess what? There was zero chance of that happening because I couldn't even take live scores. I couldn't even access any website. I couldn't access anything. I couldn't send a text, nothing, because the internet was so bad.
And just to put it out there, Gannon, Paul Kranz used a Sharpie on the back of a disc because they had no service, so they had to score it out on a disc.
I saw that. That's hilarious.
Just to put it out there even more, since obviously I was caddying, there was times when we didn't know the scores. Like, obviously we knew Ricky, but like throughout the week we had no idea who was where because I could not get live scores to update. until like I think hole 13 had like a good spot on the tee pad, or hole 12 on the tee pad, and that's about it. So Gannon was basically playing blind. Obviously, lead card the last we had a leaderboard and stuff like that, but yeah, it was crazy.
So Gannon, at that point, that conversation happens, and the way we hear it is you more or less tell Ricky that you trust. Yeah, something like that, right? You're like, hey, if you tell me that, then I trust what you're saying. Is that basically that was it? And then Jeff clarified it and you moved on?
Well, good call, Gannon.
I'll take that as a yes. That's what we heard on coverage.
I'm guessing something froze up here on his side. We may have lost him. We'll see if he calls back in.
So, I mean, the interesting, I was asking about kind of overall, obviously this whole 16 is the biggest discussion, which we haven't really broken down our own opinions on that yet. But I think Gannon's insight is correct as far as it's a high pressure situation. There were lots of variables that aren't always in play at our top tier courses. Only the second event with some new rule changes. Like we heard on coverage, I mean, Ben, you're there, so you can correct if I get this wrong, but more than once a player clarifying like exactly like, do I have another extension? How does this work? Can I use an extension here? So like we don't have to discuss it. My point is there's already that is different. Yes, the dead and unattached is actually not in the rules language anymore for moving obstacles. So then it's kind of like, well, what exactly am I allowed to do? You heard about the unique situation with cypress trees and poisonous snakes, and so there's just a lot going on. It felt more than normal to me, and then on top of it, you get this like stick situation.
Well, I will say this, and like obviously they did a lot of work to clear the fairways and stuff. It was a swamp, but some of the fairway, like a lot of it, there was just like random just sticks everywhere, as if like they just like cleared the fairway. Yeah. And just put it to the side. It was just like there was a lot of that. That's why I had like when Gannon landed there was just a bunch of sticks earlier. Right? So that's something that I noticed. Like obviously they cleared a ton, but there was definitely some like remnants, just like people just leaving just like dead trees and stuff they cut down just on the side fairway, and it's a lot of places.
Gannon's back, by the way.
All right, welcome back.
Hello.
Am
I clear?
Yeah, you're good again. So anyway, I was just clarifying and said you more or less like asked Ricky, hey, if that's what you think, I trust you. And then you kind of just moved on, right? That was the end of the conversation as far as the competition went. Is that right?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Can you hear us though?
Yeah, it's so bad. I'm literally in the middle of nowhere.
All right. Well, it's funny because we can hear
you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hear me? You guys can hear me?
Yeah, but if you can't hear us, it's hard to have a conversation.
Yeah, no, I can hear you guys perfectly.
Right.
I don't know if I'm coming through.
We're good.
Matt, just do whatever you can to make it as possible.
I'm doing the best I can.
It's decent, Gannon. There were a few robot voices. We've actually heard most of what you said just fine.
I'm LP one bar, so it's bad. But
it is bad.
All right. So I think we were on hole 17. It was Ricky. And Ricky, I don't know what was in his mind. Obviously, I don't know if he, found that I'm going to say he didn't do it intentionally. He did not move the sticks intentionally. Obviously, you still need to know, that you can't do that. And it wasn't just that. There was two more things during the round that he did that was okay, you got to know better than that. You have to know the rules. One of them was on hole 15. He didn't let go of his putter when he tapped it in. You have to actually release your disc. And then I think on 12, he was asking, there was a 40-foot tree. And he was asking if he could break off a branch. I'm like, no, you can't. You can't break off a branch if you want to, whatever. So there was a couple things that, it was just you kind of have to just know that. Obviously, like I said, I don't think he did it intentionally. But yeah, we get to hole 17 and Jeff brings it up and he's asking Ricky, are you sure those are behind your lives? Yeah, they're all dead and unattached behind my lie, which, this is where it's okay, I don't know if it's he realized it, maybe he got caught accidentally. Like I said, he didn't do it on purpose, but maybe he's oh crap, maybe it was. And then he's kind of lying his way out of it. I don't think that's likely either, but I think there, obviously there's a chance for that.
Well, in his
But
statement on Instagram that he just posted, he said that he was. What did he say? He thought it was like a different shot or whatever because it was a little bit confusing. Because I even thought it was like because that hole was so long that like I wasn't even sure like I thought it was the previous hole. You know what I'm saying? It was that, but it wasn't the previous hole. It took that long.
yeah,
So in his statement, he did definitely say that he wasn't thinking of the right shot or something along those lines. You can pull it up.
He said, I didn't immediately realize they were referring to that shot.
okay, yeah. I mean, I could see that, which was like, I do get that, but then eventually, like, you have to like realize that, like, okay, now I know what shot they're talking about. Like, obviously, at some point, he did realize what shot we were talking about. But whatever. So that was kind of just obviously an awkward situation. I didn't really know what it was. I guess to me, what it was like I was putting it on Ricky. I'm like, okay, he's going to be honest. If he did, whatever it was, if he knew the sticks were behind his lie or in front of his lie, he's going to give me an honest answer. And like I said, don't think it was intentional. Who knows if it was an honest answer or if he just genuinely did not know. So.
Well, we just heard all of that. We heard all of that.
That went down.
Yeah, we heard all of that. That was good. And you're just coming back in again. That was perfect. I'm curious just a little bit. Fast forward now to where we are now. Perspective on that rule. Have you rewatched it? Is there a good enough angle to tell if there's a stick that leads there and the branch piles on it? Like, how do you think in hindsight, Monday morning quarterbacking it, what do you think happened?
Wait, rephrase that. Sorry.
Yeah. So like I guess the benefit of being able to see it now on coverage, watching it, maybe there was a clip on Jomez I saw. It appears there was a stick that went behind his lie, but like, how do you play out now seeing it in hindsight? Monday morning quarterbacking it. Like, how did that play out? Do you think it was breaking the rules? Again, whether intentional or not, do you think the right rule was played or not?
Yes. So I can say without a doubt, there was definitely like sticks that he should not have moved. So he definitely broke the rule. Now, there also was a stick or maybe a couple sticks that did extend through his lie that he was able to move. But there was for sure sticks that were not behind his lie that he did move. So the rule was definitely broken there. Obviously, we said unintentional, intentional, we don't know. But and like Ricky gets so locked in that like I can see him just like doing it without even knowing. So I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt here. But so that it was definitely like looking back at it. I mean, actually, Isaac got a text from his friend. He was like, "Yeah, Ricky it was definitely in front of his lie." Like that was actually during the round when we're going to hole 18. I was like, "Well, that kind of sucks, but it is what it is,
Well, I don't know. I mean, as a fan and someone who talks disc golf and a friend, obviously I'm glad for you as a friend, but I'm a friend of Rick too. But what I would say is I'm glad. There's a lot of reasons I'm glad you won. You remember what happened when Kristen lost with the foot fault issue? And like, that's what the whole story was about. Like, well, it was like the whole event is like a trash because of that. Like, if you didn't win, I think this, like the media perspective on this would have been even more wild. It would have been.
Yeah, I know what you mean. 100%. Yeah. Like, cause like that. And the Kristen one was the Kristen one, foot faults are kind of weird to me, especially we were talking about it today, actually, with a couple other pro disc golfers. Like, there's a big difference planting where you should, and then you slip maybe on pine cones or you slip on wet grass and you slip into your disc, which is exactly what happened to Kristen. Like, she did her job, I guess you could say, versus like being unaware of where you should plant. Like, that's definitely part of the challenge. You should know where you're planting. Obviously, you can't just plant anywhere. That's part of the mental challenge. I mean, I've met a lot of players that like throw standstills because of that reason. It's like it's too difficult to have to think about all that stuff. So that's definitely part of the challenge. But that's where the Kristen one was weird. I was like, well, she did her job. It's not her fault she slipped into the disc. And that's where it's like, okay, obviously, like that was an accident. That was not intentional. And like it didn't actually change the outcome of the event. You know what I mean? Like the slip actually made her shot worse. It's kind of a bit of a different situation there.
Absolutely. I guess I mean from the media perspective of being like the wrong person won is what I think that's what would have happened if Ricky won. That's what the statement would have been.
For sure, yeah.
And so I'm saying I'm glad you won for a lot of reasons, but that's like it just makes it feel like, as people are commenting right now, like the discs don't lie or all these kinds of things. So it's like it feels like even if it was intentional or unintentional, it feels like it kind of works
definitely
out.
Yeah, like it definitely feels good for myself because it did feel like, you know, I wasn't getting screwed, but like some, you know, sus stuff was happening. You know what I mean? So like, it definitely was like, okay, I'm glad I won. That way, you know, none of this actually mattered. If you know what I mean?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to get at. You said it a lot better than me. Thanks.
Yeah. So I want
to use the word sus.
We'll make sure we do that. But I want to ask, because there's one other situation where we're talking about you having a perspective, and then Ricky maybe having a different perspective, which is the playoff hole. It seemed kind of crazy to me. A lot of fans weighing in. There was a spotter. You had a perspective. Ricky was trying to make a case that it came in wide and might have been much closer to the basket. Like, what was that? Was that a tense conversation at all? Like, it looked like it was. Tell us how that went down.
It's on my Instagram. You could see the POV of them actually talking if you watched it.
I did watch it. I want to hear Gannon's take on it. Gannon, what do you think? How was that? Like, just...
Oh, we lost him.
Well,
he
Ben
didn't
can
want to
tell
answer,
us.
Actually, I mean,
Ben can tell us what it was like.
Yeah,
then.
I mean, it was definitely like intense, but it wasn't. It was just more so like, obviously, when you're Rick and there wasn't an official spotter, and then there's people telling you that he crossed over to the thing. Obviously, very clearly did in other videos and just where this was obviously. But as a competitor, like, you know, if people are telling you it did cross, he's gonna, you know, try and make a case for it. And I think that's just what was happening. But it was just and Gannon was saying, like, in the video that I posted on my Instagram, it's like he's like, if the disc was here, meaning like on the edge, like he could see it, but it was literally like 7 feet into the swamp. That this just doesn't fly like that. It would have had to go around the tree and then somehow stalled and went backwards or something like that. You know what I'm saying? For it to actually be in bounds. But I think, you know, it was a weird situation where people were chiming in, like people on the gate were saying cross, and then people who were watching like a little like behind saying there's no way it crossed. And then we kept trying to find the spotter. We're like, who's the spotter? And then I forget this.
Hello.
We can hear you. So
dude, I keep getting calls. That's what it is. And bro, this dude,
you're so popular.
I'm gonna block him. He got my number somehow, and he's been blowing me up. I'm officially blocking.
Oh, dude, sorry. You heard it here on Stagger Sands.
Yeah, sorry to that dude.
Like, I know you're a fan. Appreciate that, but like, you can't be blowing me up, bro. Sorry. Okay. All right. The playoff hole. All right. I'm locked in now.
Yeah. Tell us about that. Good. Yeah. Just like, I mean, Ben was saying a little bit, but just like, what was that OB call decision? Like, was it tense? Like, what was that conversation? It was all good or what?
Yeah. So, it was definitely a little tense. I do believe at the end of the day, the correct call was made. Here's how it kind of went down. So here's kind of walking through the whole situation. So he's first because he's further out from the basket. He throws it OB. I, in my head, think he crossed up there and he's going to have like a 25-footer for par. So I'm completely content with just taking a par and moving on to the next playoff hole. As we get around that first body of water, I'm like, oh, crap, there's a flag in the ground. And then when I actually saw where his disc was at, I'm like, oh, I definitely didn't cross then. Now, here's the thing is they were trying to say like either went over the tree or it went around the tree, but you could clearly tell from the drone view that it definitely did not go around the tree and didn't go over the tree because you can see it in front of the branches. And the disc was also about 7 feet into the water out of bounds. So it's not like it was like 1 foot away from the line. It was about 7 feet out. And the other thing that really made it obvious to me that we got the call correct was that he was so far left off the tee. It'd be different if he was kind of like where I was at, and then it like hyzered in, and then and then splashed. But because he was so far left, there's no possible way it could have gone around the tree or even gone over the tree and then, crossed up there. So I think the call was right. It was a bit frustrating because people, I think, just want that they couldn't put their who they were rooting for aside. They had to, like, all the Ricky fans were saying, yeah, cross up here, and all my fans were like, oh no, it's back here. But and so basically I was like, okay, I'm gonna just forget everybody. I'm gonna go off what the spotter said and what I can see with my own eyes, because you guys are no help. I will say this though, there were a lot of pros watching that playoff, and almost all of them, I guess all of them that I talked to said, no, it wasn't close. It definitely did not cross, and we got the spot right. So I'm going to trust the pros there on that one. They know how to fly a lot better than that, and they also had a decent perspective. So, I guess I could kind of see Ricky's case of like maybe coming backwards, but it kind of seemed like he was reaching a little bit like for the crowd to kind of help him out there and maybe give him a spot up there. And to me, it was kind of obvious because he quit fighting it after about a minute. And then I think it was like, obviously as the player, you're trying to do your best. You're trying to win and get the spot that's going to, benefit you. But I think he was like, all right, it probably didn't cross. Like he didn't have definitive enough evidence that it crossed. And we were like, okay, and then he kind of just stepped up, putted, obviously missed, and I was able to tap in for the win. But it was definitely like weird. I said out loud, I was like, come on, we just need some honesty, man. Because like I said, people were just saying out loud, like, no, it's here. No, it's here. And I'm like, guys, like, what actually happened? Put aside, like, we just want a fair finish. Like, I hate that it has to come down to this. I feel like it comes down to, like,
who are you saying? But who are you saying that to? Were you saying that to the crowd, or were you saying that to Rick?
Yeah, to the crowd.
No, I was definitely saying to the crowd, not Ricky,
okay.
Not Ricky.
All right.
I know I've seen a couple posts like saying that I think even Brian Earhart was like, I was chirping at Ricky, but it was to the crowd because to me it just feels weird that, like, I mean, obviously you want your favorite player to win, but like you gotta be honest at some point. So that's what I was saying. I could definitely see how it would come across as me saying that to Ricky, and I don't think it would make sense for me to say that to Ricky in the moment because we didn't have the best view of it. It's not like Ricky knew for a fact what happened, So I was definitely saying it to the crowd at that point.
Was it so with the rule changes? Well, can I just ask with the rule changes? Can you hear us?
I'm trying to ask something.
Go ahead, Ben.
Go ahead, Josh. You go ahead.
All right. With the rule changes this year, technically Rick has no official say in the determination. Was that discussed at all, or it doesn't matter? Rick was just sharing his opinion. Like, did you consider that?
Well, that's where it's weird because it's a playoff and it's only two people. So I'm like, well, then do I just get to dictate where he goes?
Yeah.
So I don't even know how that worked. I think we just kind of came to an agreement where the spot was.
Yeah. Okay.
So essentially, the point 2 under the PDGA rule says the thrower may briefly state their opinion, but, and this is interesting, it tells me they're separating what opinion is versus what it's not. It says, but may not argue or lobby the group for an outcome. So I'm not going to, I guess, whatever. I'm just curious. It seemed like it was more than just stating his opinion, but I also don't feel like it was crazy. But maybe it was. Maybe it was way too much.
It definitely wasn't just like stating his opinion. He was definitely trying to get something, I feel like, from the crowd or somebody.
He was lobbying.
That's also not like out of this world. Like I don't think that's like a bad thing to do. I mean, we're all just trying to get evidence here. And like I said, his case, I'd be doing the same thing. I'd be like, all right, guys, like, I'd be asking the crowd, I'd be like, do you guys think there's any chance it crossed up here? Or, I would have said something probably pretty similar. So I don't blame him for that. I definitely,
that's a hard rule. Yeah, it's going to be a hard rule.
Fine.
Like so many other PDGA rules right now, it's going to be a hard rule to enforce. Like, did he share his opinion or did he lobby? Like, and did he do it shortly or not?
Yeah, that's a stupid one.
Yeah, so.
Typical PDGA rules.
Yeah, too ambiguous. But.
What I was going to say is, like, I found it, like, weird. Like, it was impossible to even, like, find or talk to the spotter.
We never found out who the spotter was.
Like, we were asking for 2 minutes. who's the spotter? And then
Who
finally,
was
like,
the spot? It's like he ran away and hit. I'm like, where are
he was
you,
afraid
bro?
of he was afraid of the crowd. He's like, I'm out of here.
and then finally, like, we saw him, and then they were like, oh, he was over there, like, not in the right spot or something like that. So, like, it was just, like, overall weird. But, yeah, we couldn't find a spotter. I kept saying, where's the spotter? Like, he can tell us. And the spotter was not letting us know.
But this goes back to,
got into it.
And I think it's been said a few times now, though, but the problem is, okay, you want the spotter, not because they're an official ruling, but because they are likely in the best spot to see. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So that's why you want to find them. But then you find them. Let's say this happened. I'm just playing it out. And Gannon goes, what did you see? And the guy goes, this is what I saw. And Ricky hears it and Jeff hears it. Who's making the call? Like, is it even Gannon's call to make at that point? Like, obviously it seems like it is, but you need somebody else. It can't just, it says majority group decision. Who's the majority there? It would have to be Jeff Spring, which ultimately means Jeff is making the call because it would be a tiebreaker vote. So, like,
well, we had we had a weird situation in Florida actually this year, and like, I got put into a horrible position because I was the last person. I hadn't voted, but Isaac Robinson was whole 9 at the Supreme Flight, and it was to do with the relief area, and we were like. Literally, I've never seen a call this close in my entire life. There was a string, and we couldn't tell what side the string was on. And obviously, Isaac doesn't get a vote. And so Chris voted one way, Ego voted one way, and then it was up to me. And I'm like, bro, like this is where I hate it. Like, if it was benefit of the doubt goes to the player, I'm just going to give it up there to Isaac because I'm like, all right, I'm going to give it to Isaac because I can't 100% say it's not in, then I'm going to vote that way. But that's not like the way the rules stated anymore. So I think that's kind of a miss on the PJ thing. I mean, we backed up the course. We sat there for like 15, 20 minutes. I know that's kind of a problem, but it hurts. Like, when you're in that situation as the guy who's like, okay, like, I'm literally going to give you a stroke or I'm not going to give you a stroke. Like, that is such a weird, like, you don't want to be that person. And it was down to me. And it was like I literally did not have an opinion on it. I'm like, this is too close to call. I cannot call this. And you know, it just like, it sucks. If it was just like benefit goes to the player, I'd be like, all right, well, sick. He's gonna get the benefit, and we can just move on. But yeah, I mean, I hated being a part of it. I hate it.
Yeah. How did time extensions work out for you?
I love the new rule. Obviously, that's gonna be kind of funny for some people, but I do like the new rule. I think it's clean. I think. You know, people weren't sure about it, but I think as we've been using it in tournaments, it's like super nice. It's like you get to an important shot or maybe a tricky line. You're like, all right, I'm gonna use an extension, and then you feel free. You feel like, okay, I can take my time and not get scrutiny from this, and I can really just focus in. I got called for one on hole 1, which I was 100% ready for, and I was ready to use one there. But then I also used one on 18 on my third shot because that was like the most important shot of the tournament. I needed to push the playoff or win the tournament. So I was like, all right, guys, I'm going to use my extension here. Yeah, that way you can kind of just do what you want and, not get crap for it, I guess. I think it's a good, clean way to kind of cool stuff down as well.
Well, you've won 50% of the events so far this year. So what are you predicting for the rest of the season? You're feeling good?
I mean, I think I could win half the events. I would love to do that. I think it's definitely possible. Obviously, it seems like every year I have, a month or two where my game doesn't feel that good. Obviously, I'm still able to get it done, but, I still feel like my game isn't 100% there right now. I can definitely do better. My putting's been really good this season. Definitely best putting I've ever had to start a season. That's not even a question. But I would like to get my throwing in a position where I know where the disc is going to go every time. That way I can stay consistent. That's really how you stay consistent. It's not really the putting. It's a bit more about the throwing. So, I would like to throw better every week, but, that's going to take some time. But, yeah, I'd love to win half the events. I think it is possible. I'm definitely going to shoot for more than I won last year. I think I won 6 last year, so going for more than that.
Well, congrats again. Matt, Nick, anything to add?
Oh, just good time, man. Watching it unfold. It is definitely a tournament to remember. I titled the name of this show "The Big Not So Easy Open" or "Easy Open" or whatever it is.
The Big Hard Open, Ben called it.
Oh no! I don't know why that sounds so great to me, but so oh, there's Ben. I'll put him back up. Oh, he's off camera, but I'll put him back
I'm
up.
here. I'm just listening. I gotta get ready to head to Mississippi, just like Gannon and following.
Okay.
I've made it to Alabama.
Sweet home, Alabama. Yeah, I feel like we don't need to keep Gannon on for this, but I was just going to say the way the course translated to the viewers was really tough. At least for it being a brand new course, it's really tough. Maybe over time it develops. Does that equate to what you feel kind of on the course? It's kind of tough to know like what your throws or how they're doing, or is that not really an issue?
I mean, I think I just got numb to it. I was like, you know, obviously, like this is not to, you know, make the course. I think it was on my time on the pro tour in my career. But,
so we didn't really catch that.
It got slightly better as the weekend went.
Resay that sentence again if you can, because it's actually coming through really choppy. And you said something about your time in that course being something.
Okay, well, are we good now?
It's so sketchy. This would be the last thing. If you happen to get through clear to us, we'll let you say this is your last piece, but I don't know. Maybe his fan friend is calling him.
Yeah,
all right, we're gonna let you go, Gannon. We appreciate you jumping in tonight. It has been an awesome. We'll catch up another time. All right, here we go. Bye.
Bye.
Okay,
so now we get to fill it and guess exactly what he said about something. This is the blank 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 course in my time on tour.
We do know a few things he said there, and one of them was, I'm kind of I think I just got numb. So I don't think he had this positive feeling about it. Like meaning, like you say you're numb. It's like I've taken it so many times that I'm kind of numb. So I again, we don't need to speculate on what he's saying, but from the fan perspective, I've seen a lot of comments, including my own feeling, people saying, reaching out to me, conversations. This is like, the course is really like, I don't know if they're using the word boring. Some people are. Hard to watch, no elevation. There was a lot to this that didn't make me like intrigued to want to see each hole. But what I will say is the appearance of the course looks awesome. Like the appearance.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful course. It's going to be a stable on course. It's going to be one of the best courses in the world.
The lack of elevation, Ben. It's literally flat, the whole thing. Not even one elevated hole.
But here's the thing. I don't know. It's like my take is like has always been like I like how different events offer different things.
Yeah.
Like is just flat disc golf the purest form of disc golf? You know what I'm saying? Like,
have you played Nantucket, Ben?
That's what it looked like, Matt.
I have not.
So Nantucket is actually the flattest course largely I've probably ever played. There's one hole where maybe you have like 10-foot elevation across the hole, like one hole. Yeah.
It's a short
like,
hole.
oh, we found the hill on Nantucket. So, and it's a great course. I do think it's a great course. It's a John Hout course. What I will say, oh, Nick, I got to unmute you again. Sorry. What I will say is that, oh, that's why I'm hearing echo out of Nick. I'm going to turn it back on. This should be good. Okay. That's why I'm just saying, like, it's probably largely that it's the newest course. Whenever you watch a new course, you don't know the holes. So that's all.
Yeah. I think I feel a little bit like what Ben and I've heard others say is like the way I would say it is it was, I don't necessarily mean physically rough, although I think it was rough as well. Like Ben said, sticks just all over the place, all right, off the fairways, but like it just needs some breaking in time. Maybe it's unfortunate there weren't a couple other like really big events. Like in a perfect world, you'd wait a whole nother year to go there, but we're not in a perfect world. So it's kind of like
last minute. I don't know if you guys knew that either. Like everything was last minute. Like the course was supposed to be done in like December. I think it was done like 2 weeks ago or
We
something
saw
like that.
John Houck out there the week of the tournament clipping branches out of trees.
Right. So that's kind of my point. Is like really that's the actual like downfall here is the fact that it wasn't more polished. It's not due to lack of potential. And Matt, people may still have their perspectives on flat, etc. But it's like it seems like it'll be a great course. They can probably take down a few more, not a lot, right? But like trees and clean up some of the rough and like
here's
things
all they
will
have
happen.
to do, Josh. Literally, so there's an invasive tree there. That's not the cypress trees are the cool trees that have grown out of swamp, are massive. There's all the skinny ones are, I forget what they're called, but they're invasive trees. Literally, just clear the course.
Yeah.
Like obviously, like tastefully, but you could clear the course of all of those and just leave the cypress, and it would have been a much better course if you just left like the big trees and cleared everything else.
Well, hopefully over time, that's the kind of thing they do. They're going to see the feedback.
They will.
Yeah, the Pro Tour in general, I know it's not just their course, but they've constantly adjusted over the years, which is why I think we see pretty good courses overall on tour. And even though I think we all say the course looks awesome, going to New Orleans is cool. Like all the aspects of it are great, and hopefully they polish up the course. I personally am not concerned about the fact of whether it's hard for the pro players. That part doesn't bother me at all. I just want it to be like fair and like Matt, like you said, maybe good to watch. Right, those types of things matter to me. But like, hey, if only 4 players throw under par on the last round, but everything else is good, then I'm good.
Well, like, I think we can compare it to like Northwood's Black, where like when it first it was like the cash line. The only other time that the cash line was in the positives was like at Northwood's Black. So I honestly like, obviously yes, a lot of work needs to be done, but I don't know if I said on this podcast earlier, but I think I'm in the camp of like I'm kind of okay with the first year just being just kind of like a crap fest, a crapshoot, and then really just refining it. Because once you take down trees, once you alter anything, you know, you could change the course like very severely. So I'm okay with like,
but
the first year being tougher, and then like, you know, then learning from that, and then be like,
that's not pro level organization, and I never talk.
No. I'm not saying like leaving stuff.
No.
Like,
I'm saying
I'm okay with it being tougher in the first year.
No,
like
I'm saying they shouldn't have a first year on a course that's new, fresh like this. They need to do what they used to do, which was you had to earn your way in. You needed to do silver or something else.
Yeah, they needed another event.
Hey, we could see how this event went, and now make it good for an elite. I'm saying don't bring it there in the first place.
Yeah. That's a great point. Yeah, that's a great point. I'm just saying, like Northwoods is good comparison. Whereas like now it's carvable. They cut out some good stuff in Northwoods where it's like, okay, this is a great course. Where before it was like, this sucks.
I'm with both you guys on your opinions for it. I lean with Ben because I know the feeling of, you know, maintaining a course and having it thrown on the Pro Tour for the first time ever. You know, when we did the Chess.com Invitational at Olympus, it was.
Oh, wow.
Guys, we went down there. We did as much as we could. Can you hear me?
You froze up in the worst face position ever.
Yeah, I know, right? So we had a group of guys go down there. You know, we did as much as we could, and then we ran an event. But we found things from that event that needed to be improved. T-pads need to be improved. Drainage system, mulch in certain areas. And then year 2, we ran the first Supreme Flight Open. It got better. Fortunately, we had great weather as well, but we cleaned up a lot of areas. We made it more spectator friendly. And then going on year 3, I mean, you guys could all see what that crew did out there with Danny, Kevin, and, you know, those guys. They made it even better. Now, you know, the first year should not be a crapshoot. Like, that's where, Ben, I think your wording's a little bit wrong with it. But at the same time,
my wording's 100% wrong.
And I know it. I know it from my personal experience of like when you change a hole, whether you're changing it completely or you're just changing a few things. It is a lot of work. It's a lot of cleanup. Now, this course that they just played, I think it's owned by a park department. You know, who knows how much time they really want to invest in it. When I was at Olympus, I can only do so much, and me and 2 other guys can only do so much. You know, it really does take a village of people to make everything great. And that's when you're coming into that first year, second year, third year. Now, take Northwood Black. The first year, everyone hated it. It was, you know, thorns were everywhere, briars were everywhere. Now you look at Northwood Black and it's cleaned up a ton. Now we're multiple years into using that property and it gets better and better. And that's the hopeful goal for this one. I mean, the amount of money that they put into it, I think it's definitely going to be something that stays around there. I think it's an awesome location being in New Orleans. I think that's just an incredible feeling in and of itself. I'd be excited to go there in person one day. Um, but to also to Matt's point, yeah, having that kind of tiered system of you got to start out as, let's say, an A tier to uh, Q series, Silver Series event, and then make it onto the Pro Tour. But at times,
Well,
it is good to have something new. I think this is what was an incredible feeling is the Pro Tour is looking for ways to also engage the players. Excuse me, engage the fans, the spectators. You
yeah,
know, we could watch the same 24 tournaments every single year, and eventually we're going to get bored. You have to add new variety into it. And this was a course that kind of was like right off the rip, very early on in the season, that was like, oh my gosh, it's 12,700 feet. It's the longest, hardest course on tour. Yes, we can all sit back and say, I would have done that differently. But at the same time, like Ben said, with the invasive trees, I'm sure they could cut out a majority of them and make the course even more spectacular. And hopefully that's what happens in the future for it, because of how much they've already invested into it. That's one of the biggest things.
well,
So,
I think like I'm okay with like this course, like only pretty much being like kind of first year, just because we've always talked about disc golf, how we have to put it near major cities. This is literally 20 minutes from downtown New Orleans. I think it was just like, let's rip off the Band-Aid. The Parks Department, what I've heard is they had a ton of money that they were going to lose. So they just spent all this money on that course. And like, it was just one of those things like rip off the Band-Aid now, let's get the event up and running. So like a few years from now, it can be stable. And,
yep.
I think this is the key to growth in the Pro Tour. Like literally being 20 minutes outside of major cities is how the future is going to be.
Yeah, I agree. I would just say, so I'm fine with the way it went down. I would prefer that they find a way to polish courses before they get there. But you can't always have both. So I'm fine with it at the end of it all, right? But it's
Yeah.
also fair to say, yeah, that's not like great. Like that's really scrubby and a little bit of whatever. But at the same time, it looked incredible. So pretty cool you got to be there, Ben.
Yeah.
Like, let's not debate this long because I like talking about the actual tournament. But like, Ben, you saw those concrete tee pads in person. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah. So like a lot of people were like, I saw Bradley Williams' story. He basically broke it down. He was like, seems like these tee pads could be like susceptible to flat spots over the years, and that even with it being dry, it wasn't that like grippy. That when it's wet, it's probably going to be very slippery for a concrete tee pad. That's what Bradley said. But as in terms, like I can't speak on that because I'm not a pro. But as in terms of like, I thought the tee pads were really cool in the fact that they were massive. They spent over the parks, like that president of the club there told me they spent over $100,000 on those tee pads. I think they were awesome. I think that's
on the
also
tee pads.
On the tee pads, on the concrete alone. Yeah. I think that's the future of the sport. Now the painting, the extra painting to line up and stuff like that, I'm not sold on that just yet, but I love the idea of just having like a big spot and then just painting something on it to notate where you have to be rather than like having to like have a small tee pad and having to like, I don't know. I think it's just safer for players. Frankly, that's my main reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Overall, I think people are always looking for something to complain about. I think, yeah, give it a little time. Sometimes people try to innovate. Maybe everybody eventually will be like the colored lines are bad. Like who cares? And
It also they looked cool.
Yeah.
It didn't
and it
matter.
also
It was
wasn't
just like it wasn't necessary. Yeah.
And it also wasn't on every single hole because they would say
No.
it's not necessary. It was the big ones and the starting and the ending, and I'm fine with it.
Yeah. I think it was, to me, like hole one is a massive drive, right? So big tee pad, great. I personally think they're a little bit overkill. I think they're a little bit too big for the purpose that they serve, especially for 18, where they're throwing a 400 somewhat foot more so of a tunnel shot. I don't think it's necessary to have all the painted lines or anything. Honestly, like Ben was just saying, you could paint a line in the front to say, hey, this is the end of the tee pad, and then you have an extra 2 feet for your follow through, right? So you're not, falling into mud or whatever. I personally think that money can be spent elsewhere, but that's just me, myself, and I. I did not play the T pads, but as Ed Root said in the comments, T pad traction is more important than the size. Most important thing that you have on a T pad is the traction. Is it a good T pad? Are people going to slip on it? I think that's by far the most important thing in the world. You can make the most beautiful looking tee pad, but if 99 out of 100 players are slipping on it, the tee pad sucks, and everyone's going to say that the tee pad sucks,
Yeah.
no matter
So
how
we'll see
pretty
when
it
it
looks.
rains.
Yeah.
I have no idea what it'll
Yeah.
be. So we'll
It's
see.
tough. I don't think there's a perfect tee pad out there because we have so many different elements that we're battling. Whether it's rain that's gonna now cake on mud. Down in Florida, it was a limestone. You could have concrete tee pads, and they might get slippery just because of all the limestone that's gonna get caked up on them. So I don't think there's a perfect one, but you want to have it to where tee pad traction is the best. So uh, long story short, on my side, I think they're a bit overkill. I thought the
We'll see
painting
how
was
it
a
plays
little
out.
bit much in the sense of, I feel like players, especially on 18, where they have the big Powerball kind of banister. Players aren't running up from way on the sides on that one. They're running up pretty much diagonal from right to left, or if they're lefty, from left to right. Like it's really, not that big of a difference compared to if you had just put a normal. They could have gone 16 by 20 at that point.
Yeah.
Whatever. 14 by 20. But realistically, yeah.
I think it just came down to like I said, the Parks Department had so much money to spend and they needed to spend it. I think
Good on them.
that's ultimately why they're that big, in my opinion. But
Yep.
you know,
Plus, sometimes you
know.
innovate and you try things, and eventually it may be ridiculous, and nobody
Yep.
ever does it again. So
That's also
no,
that's a
no
place
harm,
where
no
more than
foul at the
likely
end of
they
the
can
day.
get they can get a concrete truck throughout the property. On a majority of the holes, they're probably laying down it all with the concrete truck. You try to take that to Olympus, and you can't reach some of the tee pad areas because of the elevation changes. I
Yeah.
know courses out here in Virginia that did have a concrete truck pour every single one of them, and at that point, if you can do it, awesome. If you can't, it's going to be a back-breaking day worth of work. Multiple.
Yeah. All right. So overall, awesome course. Plenty of challenges. Not everybody loves everything. I understand it, but it also gave us an exciting tournament. And by the way, I know we've barely talked about FPO. I want to come back, but let's finish like MPO. So like Gannon gave us his perspective. Ben, you gave us some of yours. I'm just going to throw it out. What are our raw opinions on the way the final round went down, really about like the calls and the discussions and debates, like just our personal raw opinions. Nick, Matt, like let's say moving the sticks. Like, did Rick get it wrong? Did he respond correctly? We okay with the way
I wasn't there.
concluded?
Gannon says it seems pretty obvious Rick got it wrong. I think my take is that Rick didn't intentionally, obviously intentionally move sticks. That's not the debate.
But it doesn't matter if it's
But
intentional,
did
right?
he intentionally do it to break the rules? I don't think so. I think largely it doesn't make sense that he would there. The one Jomez shot I saw, there was a stick that was right in his throw. The ones that he moved, including the one that could have been in his lie, the other ones he moved wouldn't have affected the throw, it appeared. So it wasn't like he was going to, again, maybe he was breaking the rules, but I guess my take is that I don't think that altered a lot of the play. The one that he did move, that, like I said, or the one that was in his lie, that definitely would have, but it seemed like maybe that was acceptable to move that one. I think you're supposed to get people to come over if you have something questionable, but because of the way Rick plays, he's not in that mode of thinking like what other people are thinking. So long story short, I'm glad Gannon won is how I put it. That's what I said. I'm glad Gannon won because I don't want that part of the story. So
I think, kind of talking about what Gannon said, to where when Ricky was just in that mode, he might not have realized it. But the way that I feel like I kind of think about it best is he may not have maliciously done it. He may not have been thinking that it was a wrong thing to do. But if it was in that moment the wrong thing that happened, then either an official or a player on the card needs to call a violation. And if a violation is called, then it is what it is at that point. You know what I mean? It's tough that we're in a sport where the players do dictate a majority of the calls. You have marshals on the card; they need to be very aware of all those things, whether it's time violations or something as foot faults, moving branches, anything like that. If a violation occurred and someone calls it, then it is what it is. That's all you can hope for, right? We can all call it because we're watching it and a completely different view. We have the best view in the house, realistically, when we're watching it from behind a screen. So we can say, oh my gosh, that was a footfall, or oh my gosh, that stick was definitely in front of it. It's all up to the people on the card, and it's all up to the marshals that are there. I do think the Disc Golf Pro Tour needs to be better at marshals. I will say the biggest thing with the playoff hole is their crew is out there breaking down the course, getting ready to go to the next one while that final round is finishing up. You know what I mean? Like they're leaving up the playoff holes, but for the most part, they have all of their crew still there. There's no reason that there shouldn't have been 30 different spotters on an 800-foot starting hole, whether it's everyone watching
Yep.
the first shots or everyone watching the second shots. There should have been 30 different spotters throughout the whole thing, being able to come up to a consensus of like, yeah, that's where I do think it went out of bounds. Um, I don't know if 100% if that's the right spot to have an official. I know we talk about, having officials out there for like spotting officials. Maybe it could have been, but yeah, I don't think there's no reason that there should have only been one spotter out there in that moment. There should have been Jeff Spring should have had a counterpart. If Jeff's behind the drives, Jeff Spring should have had a counterpart on the upshots out there, whether it's, Evan or Max or whoever. Someone should have been out there to also help make that call, because in a playoff situation where there's two people, it does make Gannon look like the bad guy when he's arguing his point of view. And when I was watching it, I was talking with a few friends, and all of us said that none of us thought it crossed in bounds. We were like, no way. And then when we saw that it was potentially being given to him, I was like, I feel like that's completely wrong. And then you create the super awkward conversation between Ricky and Gannon. And yeah, and in that moment, you're playing for the win. Emotions are going to rise. There's going to be bitterness towards the end of it, and it sucks. So, I mean, I've seen it in the chat tonight of, people calling Ricky this or people calling Gannon that. It's like, yeah, had we had a clean tournament, someone won on hole 18, great. No one's talking about those things, but it's live sports. That's what we're going to get.
Since I was there, I do have a perspective. I think Ricky's spot was the best spot he could have gotten for himself, because there was a spot that he probably could have argued for, but that would have been closer. But that giant tree was in it, so I think he got the best spot personally for him to tie it up. Because if any closer, that tree's there and he's closer, but he has no win.
Yeah.
No putt towards it whatsoever. I agree.
So back to the stick moving here. This is what I have given this take before on this show last year, probably at some point. I don't even remember what did it, but what frustrates me is not the specific, like, things happen and there's gray areas and it's hard and we get to debate them. We weren't there, etc. But I'm more disappointed sometimes in the pros not seeming to understand the rules. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the thing. I mean, I don't get it. Mm-hmm. You're a professional, right? Because literally earlier in that same round, Rick's lining up for a shot. Ben, I don't know if you remember this. And there's a stick that's in his way that's hooked to a tree that's laying down. And he wants to move the stick. And he's like, well, it's dead. And he kept saying over and over, it's dead. Like, I'm going to move it. It's dead, which is not the rule. Right? So it's just like, what is going on? I'm like, in Luke Taylor's like, no, like, you can't move that. And at some point, Jeff Spring clarifies, and like Luke's like, yeah, it's attached to a tree or something. It's just kind of like funny. Like, obviously you can't move it. And then, it's just, it's those types of things that then make me skeptical of the whole thing. I'm like, okay, well then I can't trust what that player interprets at any point. And I don't mean trust. I don't mean trust like integrity. That's like, I'm not, but I mean, I just can't trust because I don't know. They're just going to make a case for whatever they want, not what the rules say, not because they're trying to cheat.
I think Ricky's just like, he's a dog. He's an animal. He's one of the most competitive people out there. I think it just comes down to like, he is just like, he's going to make his case. I think that's why.
Right.
And if he can get an advantage, he can. And then, but he's at least wants to make his case just in case.
By the way, like anybody who's, yes, I agree, Ben. Anybody who's played sports at any level, I'm not talking even professional, any level. The best competitors are always, right or wrong, it drives me crazy as well, but I've been there. You're always trying to argue your case. Like, you ever play basketball and it's like, no, I didn't touch that ball. Yes, you did. And like, somehow, literally, the fact that you almost get blinded to it because you think there's no way that happened until somebody shows you video coverage. Your brain literally doesn't. And right, so it's funny. I think Paul Macbeth.
Travel is like a perfect example of that.
Right. I think Paul Macbeth put like some funny video where he tagged like Gannon and Ricky and the Pro Tour. I don't know if you've seen that yet on Instagram, but he's basically like, "What are you expecting like Ricky to do?" And I'm not talking about the stick moving thing. I think we all seem to generally say he probably should not have moved those sticks, or he at least should have consulted with the group before moving those sticks. It seems to be general consensus there. But like all the other things, like of course Rick's like, I mean, he should, by the way, generally within the rules, I guess he's not allowed to lobby, right, Matt? But he should like try to make his case. right? Like
If
in other words,
he personally believes, then yeah. Exactly.
Well, right. But my point is of course he personally believes it, because in the heat of the moment, Nick, this is maybe if you heard what I was saying a minute ago, how many times have you been playing basketball and there's some call and you're like, there's no way that happened.
Yep.
But it's like, but you also know like it definitely happened.
Yeah.
Like it's just like in the heat of the moment, you're always defending what you think should have happened.
Like if I'm going up to block a guy, right, and maybe I hit him a little bit harder than I should have, and I think, if I got a foul called on me, I'm upset. I'll complain to the ref for a second and say, no way, that's ticky tacky.
Yeah, even though if you reversed it, you would have a different opinion.
If I reverse it, I would say and one. You know what I mean? Like
that's my point. So I don't.
Yes.
So when I say I expect him to know the rules on the professional side, I do. I also don't. I'm not upset at Ricky for trying to defend it. I guess some people obviously feel like maybe. Ben and Gannon have both expressed they were there and they don't see it this way. I know some people feel like maybe he was lying, which is like kind of a gray area because it depends what you mean by lying. I'm talking about he believed that what he did, to your point, Ben, he was just grinding it out. He's like, I moved a branch that was in my lie. Like that's just how he. Yeah, that's just how he felt.
It's just like it's such a non factor in him because he's thinking about having to hit the shot that it was just like you said, like robot. His mind was just like, okay, there's a bunch of sticks there in my lie, let's move them. Right. I don't think he wasn't putting any thought to like, oh, should I? Oh, I'm giving myself an advantage here. It was just like, it was just like he wasn't thinking about it.
Right. So at the same time, I'm not mad at Rick, meaning because I don't think he's lying. I don't think there's that issue. I mean, come on, Rick's been in our sport forever. I've never seen him I've always seen him highly competitive. There's been plenty of times, by the way, where similar things have happened, where he's had bad stances, foot faults, other debate. But that's because he's competitive, not because I've ever seen Ricky have a lack of integrity or cheating so that stuff's silly to me. Now, whether or not you think Rick gets in the mode, and by the way, being in the mode doesn't excuse you for breaking the rules. I'm fine if somebody calls him.
Yep.
But guess what? For Ricky, he comes out ahead most of the time by being robot mode, right? In general, that works for him. And if he makes a mistake
that's why he makes all the putts. That's literally the reason he makes all those insane putts.
Yeah.
Nothing in the world. There could be a nuke coming out from the sky, and he wouldn't hear it. You know what I'm saying? That's why.
So Ricky shouldn't change, and he should just live with the consequences. In other words, stay laser focused, be highly competitive. That's what we also love about him. In this event, it was rough to have 2 or 3 things happen. And then my general plea to all the pros is just know the rules. And I'm not talking about, Gannon talks about the gray areas where you don't know exactly what to do. Maybe that's fine. But to not know, or at least it appears to not know. Maybe, Ben, to your point, it's just because he's hyper focused. Rick may know every single rule, and in the moment, it's hard to know.
I know Rick. I filmed his practice rounds, and I've hung out with him. It's just,
I think he's So I want to say
everyone knows he's a great guy, and he would never do that.
The internet that's
he wouldn't be so
him.
successful in this sport. Anyone who cheats in this sport is is not successful in this sport. I'm sure you guys have heard of stories. They're not the greats. They're the ones that
people are always looking to harp on something. And when there's something to harp on, it's a little bit fun, but it goes overboard. It's whoa, come on.
It's because we're fans. It's fans. You want to talk about it. You want to feel a part of it.
But people are acting Ricky's Barrett. People have lost all respect for Ricky. It's what?
Yeah, no, and that's why I want to just reiterate to everyone as Gannon's caddy, and Gannon said it too. Rick, it would never do that as
trying to cheat.
I'm gonna move this because it's in my lie. It was just Rick being Rick.
No, but he shouldn't have done it. I'm gonna say that he shouldn't have done.
No,
okay,
100% shouldn't have done it. I'm more so saying it.
But in the moment,
I know what
in the moment, Josh, he wasn't consciously thinking I shouldn't do this.
Yeah, which is a problem. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. That's why I say I have no ill intent, but it's a problem. You can watch. We're not there. I can't literally see if a stick is in his lie, but let's assume it is, right? But Matt, he's looking at a weird, I think Gannon was saying, a patent pinning backhand, but he prefers the forehand. He lines up, and guess what? There's sticks over there, right? So he's well, there's a stick in my lie. I'm going to go move it. Okay. I'm going to go move it, right? And it's the player, even though I know he's hyper focused, we're saying, Ben, but he can't do that. No ill intent, no malice, but you can't do it.
I'm more so backing him up.
Matt, we hear you.
Matt, you're live. You're live. Matt.
Well, Now we all get to
That
hear
Josh can text them.
Matt's
Mama
on
Graham.
Yeah, Mama Graham.
Ah,
Okay.
even funnier. All right, you're
That's
fine,
so
Matt.
funny.
Step away.
Okay, good.
Okay,
And that's
it's funny.
Now the chat
So
saying we
I'm
didn't hear Matt.
gonna
Okay.
tell the chat what they
Yeah.
need to hear. It's
Sorry,
funny because we're
we
live
heard
with
Matt in
you
the
all.
background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're live with you all.
Yep.
Matt steps off of the show,
Apologies.
but we still hear his audio to
Yeah.
us only, and so,
So
we
we
think
thought-
he's live.
Yeah.
We didn't know what the phone call was going to be.
Exactly.
That's why. We just
Sorry
heard
about that,
hello.
everyone.
And we're like, oh!
It was someone family calling for help, and Matt's a good helper, so it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's more funny to us,
But-
and
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. So I like whatever. We're gonna move on, but it'll take. There's no event this week, so when I say move on, I'm sure Rick, like we tried to get him here. He did respond to us and everything, but he obviously didn't make the show. He'll probably pop on some other show for all I know, and the drama won't be fully over. I think Gannon and Rick will continue to have respect for each other. I think they're friends. Ben, you said all that, but I think the rivalry has to tick up a little bit. Even, by the way, zero wrong. Like Gannon's doing it in a mature way, but on our show tonight, he's saying I don't think Rick should have done this or that, right? So there's got to be a little bit, and I don't mean malice, not no hate, but there's got to be a little bit back and forth. There has to be.
I'll say this after the round when it was me and Gannon. Gannon really likes Rick as a person, and he said it to my wife the other day. Yeah, Rick's one of the my favorite people. But after the round, Gannon felt bad because there's echoing. Sorry.
Is it on my side?
Yeah, Gannon felt bad because
so Gannon
multiple times in that round.
No. So after the round, Gannon 1-on-1 to me, he's like, "Man, I just feel bad. I really hope this rivalry doesn't come between our friendship. He still wants to be friend. He felt bad that it came down to that because he values Rick as a friend and as a human being that much that he's like, I really hope that our rivalry doesn't come, because we've seen rivalries in the past where they were friends and then because they were just battling all the time in tournaments, they started not liking each other just based on the fact of competition. So that was a big concern for Gannon, that he was like, I really hope that we can stay friends for the next however many years, even though so I'll give that a little
I agree.
tidbit.
Yeah, Gannon started when I asked him that too. He's like, disc golf's weird because you can have a rivalry, but you're also kind of friends because it's a small tour. Obviously, there's been multiple rivalries, but the one we always look back to, right, is Paul and Rick, which would probably, just because of the legacy, I think the rivalry still exists, but it's cooled off, right? There was a period where whether or not they actually, Nick, you were closer to all this, so this is just my words. Whether or not they actually hated each other, I doubt they hated each other, but we all felt like they would, they wanted to stomp on each other, at least on the course. No actual real world life ill intent, but on the course, they both wanted to whatever. And I think you can't tell me, right? Rick's wanting to come back and beat Gannon, and Gannon would love to win half the events.
Absolutely, they're gonna both want to beat each other, 100%.
Now my question is Rick gonna be back all year at the top?
2 events.
I think so.
This is a different. Just this year is different than last year. We just know it.
Sometimes players
it's not
figure
going
it
to
out.
be an AB year like the one before, where AB won
it's hard to
Supreme
know.
Flight and then won a few others and then gone.
Ricky has more history than AB, so we'll see.
Ricky's the most intimidating man, other than Gannon, honestly, right now, to be in the lead or be behind you. Just because those putts. He's the only person in the world that can just consistently make those 60-footers in crunch time.
Yeah. It's interesting. By the way, did you know Salmon? This is funny. Simon.
Salmon
called him. I don't know where that came from.
Salmon.
In round 1, there's a stick that extends over his lie area, and he's asking, am I allowed to move it? And there's a lot of discussion at the end of it all. He chooses not to move it. So it's just interesting how different players approach the situation, right? It's different when it's the final round and things are really, really tight. I don't know. There was a lot of exciting stuff. FPO, Holland Hanley, great tournament from her. The way MPO happened, it just like shadowed that. And
it's unfortunate
from a conversation standpoint, not from a performance, not from what she earned, not because we think Holland might have a great year. So I just want to say like all the kudos to Holland in the FPO field.
Yeah,
like
she dominated.
Yeah,
basically.
like all of it. It's just like you're going to get 4 minutes on tonight's show because the other thing was so dramatic. And when FPO is dramatic, we'll talk about that like we've done many times.
I think it's just she won just such a obviously I know Missy was like down back 1 or 2, but she basically the whole time it was like from round 1 to round 3. It might have been wire to wire, honestly. So
yeah. Oh wait, who just commented in the chat? Who's Holland Hanley Disc Golf?
Is that really? It's her logo.
Holland,
you she's tears in her eye. Holland, hey, we'd bring her on right now.
I talked about her earlier.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel bad. It's like we're like tacking it on. Our show does not want to tack that on, but I'm gonna have to truly say, like, I don't know what to say about the tournament. I mean, we already talked about the course.
You're dominant, Holland. That's all I gotta say.
And I want to say this. Discraft had put out a post, a week or 2 ago, whatever it was, and it was, of all their elite team players, and it pretty much said if there was one person on the team whose skill you could take, whose would it be? And I think on the FPO side of things, most everyone wanted Holland's power forehand, power sidearm, and I thought she executed it awesome this week. She did exactly what she needed to do the final round. She started out 3 over through 4 holes, kind of gave Missy a little breathing room in there, gave Owen a little breathing room in there. But after that, popped off 5 birdies and a crap ton of pars and literally just dominated the end of it. Where everyone else was making mistakes, she kept it clean. She made the putts. And I'll go on record years ago saying Holland is going to be one of the best FPO players out there because she puts in the work. Yeah, it is now. Yeah, but like I was, kind of quoting myself, paraphrasing, said she's going to be one of the best FPO players, and she is. She's literally the number 1 FPO player in the world right now. I think she's the most talented. I'm excited for Silva to come back on the tour, Evelina to come back on the tour, some of those really good power throwers. Silva's obviously an incredible putter as well. But yeah, Holland murdered it. It was exciting to watch. I was pumped for it.
I think this course was just like the easiest pick for FPO in picking Holland to win. It was just the Holland course. I picked her. Yeah. Matt picked her. Did you pick her?
I picked Missy because I just thought Missy keep it clean down the fairways, make those putts, and final round. I thought it was going to be Missy's time, and then obviously things happened the way they did. But yeah, obviously, if I could redo my pick, I'd pick Holland 10 times out of 10.
To me, it was just obvious. It was like if I'm gonna pick any FPO player, it's gonna be Holland. Wow!
What do we have?
This is how magic works. She jumps into the chat.
Yeah, I'll just invite myself on.
Yeah, she jumps in the chat. She makes us feel bad. So here we go. Hey, you want to get in? No, seriously, we just talked for like I don't even know how many hours about just the event, sticks, rules, how things play, the excitement, the course itself, the tee pads. We've literally talked about everything, and we're not a show to glance over FPO usually. So we're glad you jumped in now because it just kind of makes sense. So congratulations. We were just talking about how a good handful of us picked you in our fantasy picks, and you showed up and did that. Congratulations on that, Holland. I think Nick just said you are what'd you say? She's the greatest FPO player?
She's number 1. Yeah.
So
if I had more than 5 picks, I'd pick Holland almost every single week to win a Pro Tour event.
Then it wouldn't be fun.
Which one would you not? Yeah, which one would you not?
Well, I'd pick Owen at Supreme Flight just because hindsight 2020, I know Owen wins it. So.
Fair enough.
So I'll get my pick for next year.
So Holland, this year is starting out decent for you. I mean, how do you feel, and what's your outlook for the rest of the season? Things going to be the same old, or you're going to show up to all the events and maybe win?
Yeah, hopefully. It's funny. Literally yesterday after the NPO round ended, I was joking that I'm not going to get invited on any podcast because there's so much content just from how that round finished. But yeah, I mean, feeling good about it, and especially good that I finally won on a more technical course. So yeah, hopefully going to be a threat at everything this year.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I feel like sometimes we've seen, this is my opinion, you may disagree, but challenges in some of these close tournaments with kind of mental game and getting settled. And this round started, I mean, you had the lead, but it started tough. Like, just like walk us through. Did you have to like calibrate and reset, or was it just hole by hole by hole? Like, where was your mindset coming through hole 4?
Yeah, my whole mindset just about the first 4 holes is that like the round doesn't even really start until hole 5, just because so much crazy stuff can happen. So in my mind, I was like, we're just gonna get through the first 4 holes, and then whatever the situation is on hole 5, that's where the round starts, and it's just we're starting there.
And then you just birdie, par,
Yep.
birdie. All right, awesome. Yeah. What do you think? Did FPO run into any sticks on the course? And I don't mean like the silly drama we're debating. I mean, like, was that a thing out there? Ben said he saw so many sticks. Like, were you ever in the rough and there's just like piles of sticks everywhere? Was that like a problem? And by the way, that's an easy fix for them in the future. But was that a problem this year?
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's just because so many of the fairways are fresh. Because I read in the same problem on my course, like when you're taking down a lot of trees, it's actually really annoying to just fully remove all of the branches, but it's much easier to just push them to the side. And then over time, they eventually break down as you have people playing the course. So it's just kind of like an issue with it just being a fresh course. And I did remark a couple of times that it was like a little annoying that they just did that instead of actually getting rid of them, because it makes it really, really hard to scramble.
Yeah. You didn't run into any crazy wildlife in your rounds?
We saw a pretty cool snake on our way to hole 3. And throughout practice, saw a couple gators, but nothing that was like, in the way or anything like that.
Yeah. And just in general, we did also debate, because this is consistent across MPO, FPO. We talked about it being a little rough just because it's so kind of new and cut in. But are you... I don't know. I'm asking this way too generic. Are you a fan of the course? Just because there's been a lot of like mixed opinions, especially hearing some pros voice how it's a terrible course, and then many fans say, "Well, that's only because it's hard for you." Right. Yeah, so where do you like fit in that discussion from this course?
Yeah, I think terrible is a strong word. I think most of the FPO would say it was good but hard, and like about 5 or 6 holes need a little bit of refinement. Granted, our layout was mostly the blue layout that had already been there, and so like some of the stuff that needs refinement was all the new stuff, whereas like the guys, it was mostly all new stuff.
Crazy.
And I mean, I can see the vision and for what they're going for, because if you want to make the hardest course on tour, like you kind of have to make it too hard, and then take out a tree here and there and kind of slowly refine it, because you can't put trees back, obviously. Yeah, and it was weird seeing like the guys' scores kind of look more like our scores, and we were like, see how it feels kind of thing. But yeah, I think it was a different kind. It was a unique kind of challenge. It was, you saw the players who like generally don't get too phased by a kind of roller coaster of things happening. The players who are a little bit more even keeled were the ones who did really well. So I think it was a really good mental test in that way. Kind of like how you could argue Sprinkle Valley Hole 18 last year was that fair or not? But at the end of the day, regardless of the rules, everyone had to play it, and it ended up being a mental test that like broke some people, and some people got through just fine.
Yeah. I mean, the men's course was 3,000 feet longer, which is kind of like crazy. I don't have any stats in front of me, so this is just a true open-ended question. Maybe you don't know. Have you ever led an event like this, wire to wire, like all 3 rounds? Right? Because I think I'm getting that right. Like every single round, you were one.
I think I've done. I know I did it at Kansas City last year. I think that's maybe the only time. I don't remember if Crocol was wire to wire or if Northwest last year was wire to wire. I don't think they were. I know Kansas City was, because that was the first time I did it. So
yeah. Well, I don't have it in front of me, but that's just, we're laughing about it, but it's partly why it's like, well, there's not a whole lot to talk about as far as competition goes. Up and down the leaderboard, there's always things we can react to. I want to ask something that's not necessarily on the course, but after like you win, what, like, did they tell it to me? This is really kind of light humor. It looked almost awkward. Like, okay, is this band going to play? Are we like walking somewhere? Is this like a 5-minute walk with a band like serenading us? Like, but obviously that's a New Orleans thing. So if you're there, like that kind of, like, so it's not actually weird, but it kind of felt funny. Was that funny to you at all?
It was. I wasn't expecting it. I didn't know that they were going to be there. And then also I was kind of had this moment of like, what do I do? Because I'm not like a person who's gonna like stand there and like dance by myself or
I was
Yeah,
just
like
something.
gonna
what do you
say
I'm
do?
the
way
dance.
too awkward. I can't. I feel weird dancing even when there's people around. I'm not a
Hey,
dancing type person. So, and then I have like Kevin trying to tell me stand over here because you got to do pictures first, and then I've got
yeah,
Jeff saying like, "Hey, we're gonna like the band's gonna go out and we're gonna follow them," and then it's pictures, and then it's well, we have to do scores technically before all of this. Like the whole time we're walking, I'm just like,
yeah.
we didn't finish our scorecards. Like, is someone gonna be upset about this? But yeah, it was probably just me.
It's
I'm
so
sure
funny.
if it had been like Paige or if it had been Missy, they would have been a lot less awkward than I was. But that's just me.
Yeah, oh,
Well, we love it.
I'm sure it's yeah, having zero to do with you. I watched it and it felt awkward, and it's not because of you, but I was kind of like, "What's happening?" Like it was strange. But then again, anybody who's ever been to New Orleans, if you walk around like down there, like at night, you're just gonna hear bands, and so it's literally part of the culture. But it was kind of a funny
Yeah.
moment, and I'm like, "Congrats! Here's your trophy." And like maybe I'm missing something obvious, but what's behind the fact of like the mini sword inside of like the tree like stump?
Yeah. So I forget the name, but apparently the first bar in New Orleans was founded by a pirate, and I'm forgetting the guy's name. Someone told me, but yeah, it was just an homage to that. And then
Okay.
they told me originally they thought of doing a trophy that was like an instrument of some kind, but
Hmm.
they thought the sword and the stump was a little more fitting given the
Of
battle,
course.
that it takes to do well on that course.
Yeah. Well, looks fun. Looked interesting. But so you looking forward? I think you said it at the end to coming back here, meaning especially with some refinement on the courses and kind of being familiar with the region and all of that. Looking forward to coming back here next year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the local government too is really invested in making this
Yes.
venue special. Like they've invested a lot into it. They're willing to invest more into it. They were talking about I heard that they're gonna like put in a cell tower there just so, the disc golf network works better. It's not often that you get like a local community that's that invested in a pro tour event. And then also you've got John Hauk there, as the designer, and you've got this whole crew of people that were very open to feedback. So like the rest of the ingredients are there to make a really special event. So I hope we go back. I hope that the negative feedback from some people isn't enough to deter the pro tour from going back.
It sounds like all the people who probably have actual influence. Not that all the fans don't, but I think most people say exactly what you're saying, which is like there were plenty of opportunities here, and maybe it was like overextended, and there's some rough and cleanup. But those are literally things that you can improve in 1 year's time. And so I think, yeah, I'm sure people will be looking forward to heading
Well,
back there.
like you had the best take ever because I had a similar take earlier about, like you said, about slowly refining the course, kind of just seeing how it played out this year and then shaping it from there rather than just taking away everything. It's like, oh, we wanted this to be really hard and it's actually way too easy. So I think they're going to be there for the next 20 years. I mean, it's right outside of a major city. It's massive. It's beautiful. I think it's here to stay regardless.
Mhm.
You looking
Yeah,
forward
and
to the European women being back in the tour and getting to compete against them?
Oh, absolutely. I would have loved to see Evelina on this course, honestly, because like just
oh man, yeah.
ripping as far as you can on these crazy shapes through the woods. Like this is an Evelina kind of course. I was kind of saying you need Evelina's throw and Silva's putt. I feel like to just shred this course. So I'm excited both of them are going to be in Queen City, and obviously I like them, so it'll be cool to have them around. And then it'll be just more interesting, having more top players in the
For
mix
sure.
makes it more interesting for the fans, more fun for us competing.
Yeah, to be clear, and I hope you don't felt that was any question other than just are you interested in playing with them? I think your competition this week was fantastic. So I think what we saw, we'll be grateful to see it again down there. The trees look beautiful. I think from a fan's perspective watching it, it was not the players, but like the competition was a little boring in the sense of how we could perceive the course. So you imagine it in person
Mm-hmm.
being there. Your first time seeing it on a camera can also be disorienting. So that will develop over time as well. But the lack of elevation is kind of my thing. Did you feel bored at all by that?
I mean, we did just play SFO, which had a lot of elevation.
Okay.
I feel like it had it had so many different shapes that it made you do. Like, it definitely made me get out of my comfort zone a little bit in terms of the shapes that I had to throw. Like, I was even really sore after throwing such steep hyzers full power. A little elevation would be nice, but I mean, obviously you can only do what the land gives you. There's no elevation.
Yes and
there.
no. With a Hout design course, they'll move ponds. I mean, we could probably put in a hill or two, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if you wanted to, you could really you could probably build up the tee area of 18 and make that downhill if you really wanted to. It's already got a little bit of a slope.
Nice.
Yeah, but yeah, I did worry about it filming well, because even playing it, there are some of the longer par fives and par fours where even after a couple of practice rounds, I'm like, wait, what is this hole? I don't even remember.
Yeah.
So
it should develop with time. I think it's positive takeaway. Your performance was awesome, Holland. I only have 4 picks left of you, so if in the future you hear that I didn't pick you, it's strategy. I'm saving you, but congrats on that performance, and we're glad that you jumped in the chat. And the fun part here for our audio listeners, on our little scrolling latest subscriber on screen, it's Holland Hanley, everybody. So she joined the show as a thanks to her subscription. We bring her in, so there you go.
Oh yeah.
Anything that we missed talking about that you would want to shout out or talk about before we let you go?
I mean, not a ton. I do think if we're looking for stuff to be excited about in FPO, there's a lot of really young players with a ton of talent. I got to play with Eden Essay this weekend, and it was the second time I'd ever played with her. And man, just some of the lines that she takes, and she's so fearless, and she's got the skill to back it up. And she's one of maybe 5 or 6 who are in that 15 to 20 age range, who just their form, their mentality, it's so good. I think you give them some of them could win this year or in the next 2 to 3 years. I think we're going to see some really, really cool new names coming up. So
that's
things
exciting.
to look forward to.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
It's one of those questions. Yeah, it's one of those questions I had even FPO and MPO is you start thinking well, when these players come in, you don't know who they are, but then one day one of them is the next Holland Hanley, the next, Ganon Burr. And it's when is that? Who are we seeing? So you're right to put the spotlight on these players to keep an eye on them.
Yeah. Well, player of the year last year, and now you've got to win this year, so keep going.
Oh boy, yeah, don't make it as tight this year. If you want it, you can't make us argue about it too much. This is what happened last time. So.
Yeah, that's the goal this year, is get it and make it a little more obvious.
Okay.
Yeah, but then nobody's going to invite you to podcast. There's nothing to talk about when you just run away with it.
I guess I got to win a major or something to get invited on podcasts again.
All right. Well, you're only a couple weeks away. When's the first major? Champions Cup?
Not even a month away.
Less than a month away. So there you go.
Yep. Cool.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, thanks for joining.
Thanks for joining.
It was fun.
Glad
it was fun. We'll talk to you later.
All right.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Glad we got her on.
That happens sometimes. I'm glad she commented in the chat. Was able to line her up real quick.
I'm like, is that? Yeah, Holland. All right, awesome. Now, really, obviously, literally, I mean, we're only 2 events in, so everything's relative. But you get a win early in the season. Things can build up for a top player like Holland. You get a monkey on your back if you're a fourth of the way through the season and don't have a win. And so to do that, you relieve any kind of, I don't even know if there's pressure, right? But now it's just keep going. Right? Pedal to the metal, as they say. So that obviously means Holland, well, it's not obvious, but Holland is in first place for Pro Tour standings. You know what's interesting about MPO? There's a tie at first place, which is fairly obvious, but Ricky and Gannon are tied because 1-2, 2-1.
2-2-1.
Yep. So pretty, see if they can keep that up. That would be nuts if they just kept going 1 and 2 all year. I don't expect it, but.
We just had on our show tonight the best MPO player and the best FPO player. Not too bad.
Yeah, number one. That is pretty awesome. Hey, I know we're wrapping up. We had a full show, but PDL, pop, drop, lock, any just quick check-in, or we're obviously not doing picks because Queen City Classic, is that what it's called?
2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's 2 weeks away. So we're not gonna.
We can at least show you the points.
Yeah, but let's get our. I was tempted to stay away from it, Matt, because I did terrible.
It's been a while since
Nick,
my
did you get
computer
lucky
glitched for that.
The whole debate of lucky between Gannon and Rick. I'm going to say Nick just gets lucky.
Nick destroyed us.
Nick got lucky.
He didn't
Did
even
I?
play.
Yeah, he didn't
play this
even
week.
know.
85
Kyle
points.
Klein.
No, I played this week.
All right.
Oh,
Kyle Klein was your big pick.
Wow.
wait, how many points did
Alright.
Nick have?
85.
No. Nick doesn't have 85.
Oh,
But you still did really good. You won out of all of us.
oh. It said 85
You got,
for a
I don't
second.
know, wherever that's loading in from, I'll tell you. You have 49 points, and Kyle Klein
Okay.
gave you 30 of those.
Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. But Braden Sides gave you 10. Missy Gannon gave you 10.
Yep.
So you did all right.
Yep.
Ben, you were next. Matt, maybe you're tinkering. I don't care if it's up there or not. Ben, you had 46. You're only 3 points behind. And you were just like, you were across the board. You obviously got Holland to win for 25. Yep. Mason Ford dropped for you, and Harry Chase popped for you. So, like, you got a good score there.
Let's go.
Matt, a little further back, but not way off your Joey Tamale strategy. But Silas Schultz, I forget. Like, we didn't talk about it. That's like, I don't think it's officially a home course, but it's a home region.
Local.
And you were just gambling, I guess, on the drop, huh?
Yeah, it was unfortunate.
And you performed. Good. Congrats to him. But you did pick Holland to win and Maria Oliva to pop. So you did all right. And then I got 1 point.
1 point.
That's hard to do. We should play a game who can get closest to zero.
Closest to zero.
Yeah, especially, you're right. Yeah,
That's
I mean,
a
on the
new
locks, it's easy to get it on locks, which I did.
GT0.
Locks are easy, but I picked Calvin Heimberg. I mean, come on, like terrible tournament.
I picked Calvin as well.
And Ella Hansen, like, a little bit of a risk, but I thought, like, throwing far, just getting up there. But anyway, and then Chris Dickerson performed better than I thought. Eagle McMahon gave me a point. Yeah, which I picked him to drop, so hurt.
Yeah.
And Eagle McMahon gave me 7. So I don't ever really know exactly for sure what to think about Eagle anymore compared to years ago. Still an incredible player, but just not the same.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Pop Drop Lock. Remember, everybody, go out there and play. PopDropLock.com. It's free to play. You just got to sign up. It's fun. You can play with all of us, but you can also favorite your friends. Like, just find their username. They'll have to tell you, but favorite it, and it just pulls them to the top. That way you don't have to surf through, however many people enter, a couple hundred people. It's fun to play with your friends. You can't gamble on our site, but if you want to bet each other, have fun doing it. It's a fun game.
And what I'd like to do
probably beat me with 1 point.
Yeah, what I'd like to do as a closeout, if you don't mind, is actually play a little bit of the Matty O interview from this right before the event as a way to kind of put a hook out there for people to go check it out. Because while we may not be doing the YouTube episodes as often, we are trying to still put content out on our podcast platform for our listeners. So if there's anything else to be said, let's say it. Otherwise, I'm going to play a little bit of that, and just a little bit. You're going to have to go find it on Apple and Spotify and everywhere else because it's not on YouTube. But here's a little bit of that playing out, and then we can close it out shortly after that. Actually, let's just close it out now.
Yeah.
And then I'll just play it as an outro.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. And definitely listen to it because it's awesome. And subscribe to the audio. We're still going to be here live throughout the year, but not nearly as much. But you're going to get other audio clips from time to time. So get out there and do it. So, awesome show this week, guys.
Love it.
Thanks for joining, Nick. Ben enjoyed New Orleans. Maybe you just wasted it all on the show, but we appreciate you coming.
I'm heading out now, so it's all good.
All right, guys.
Enjoy it.
I don't know what I'm going to put up on the screen here yet because I can't figure that out on the fly. So sit tight while I play this, and then maybe I can put off the screen, but we'll see.
All
right, peace out, everybody.
Peace out.
If you look at the professional disc golf leaderboards today, you see the name Matty O. You see the sunglasses, the Roll Tide cheers, and that unmistakable, even somewhat unorthodox backhand. But if you rewind 20 plus years, there was no Matty O as we know him. There was just a kid in Mobile, Alabama. And I asked him how his friends would remember him if they were to describe him today.
They would have probably said that mug likes to shoot basketballs, throw frisbees, and hit baseballs, and he watches a lot of baseball. I used to watch like 150 Braves games a year. I swear, if not, we were listening to it on the radio if we were camping. It was all about it. Me and my dad and my little brother watched a lot of Braves games, and I was really big into that. We had like our little diamond in the backyard that we had kind of like neighbors' fences, and had one of those like ball throws where you throw it, it bounces back to you, and we had the taped strike zone in it. So we had our like that could be our umpire, and kind of did like I said before, I was kind of like just like a Mobile, Alabama Sandlot kid, kind of just wanted to play sports and grind in the neighborhood.
With Matt talking so much about his love for sports and specifically baseball and just playing with the kids in the neighborhood, it led me to be curious a little bit about when did disc golf become a part of his life. So I asked him about that. When did disc golf become a part of your life?
It was definitely disc golf was probably the last of them. I started with baseball. Really loved baseball at the beginning, and then I got into basketball. I would say when I was like 11 or 12, and I loved it. That was my next. Like they were probably even kind of started realizing there was some serious talent out there in baseball, and it was hard to keep up with them. So I kind of realized early that it's a tough sport to make it in. I was smart, so I kind of slowed it down, and then I would say I was 11, 12 when I started playing disc golf, but it was just me putting in the backyard. And then I would get to go to one league a week at Chickasaw on Thursday. My dad ran an ace toss. And then that would be the only time I got to play, and I could never turn it down. And then I started let me play tournaments. He kind of slowly let me gradual play because there weren't no juniors, so I'd always play AMs. And I never played well because I was 11 and 12 years old, so I was playing with some interesting characters the second round, and so I kind of started that way, but then I got addicted to like playing tournaments because I knew that was like I could get to play. I was put into a group automatically. I got to compete with adults, and I always enjoyed the competition of it. And I was just addicted to going to places like Baton Rouge, seeing like different side of life. And my dad would run about a tournament there a month, so I went there a lot. That was probably the place I went to the most when I was a kid, was Baton Rouge, and just kind of got addicted to traveling and playing disc golf and being with my old man.
He wasn't looking for a pro career, he was just looking for a group. And because he was younger than the guys at the local course, he learned to hold his own with people twice his age.
I just started throwing, and it was, I don't know, me and my little brother always played together. We didn't really get to play in the groups except for during the tournament, because when we went to the Thursday toss at Chickasaw, like I said, it would just be me and him, and we'd kind of just go off by ourselves. We weren't playing the ace toss. We just play, until, I always had one rule. He's like, you can come as much as you want, but if you ever come to ask to come home, it'll be a while before you come.
All right, everybody. Glad you joined the show tonight. If you want to check out that full Matty-O interview, be sure to look back an episode and catch it there. Appreciate everybody. Until next time, we'll catch you out there.